Afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, Instagram, sports1440.ca. Also, if you're listening via the app, Stingray, iHeartRadio, or Radio Player, thank you so much for listening, watching the show. It is opening day for the Four Nations. I know it's short and sweet. You got a game today. You got a game Thursday. You got 2 games Saturday, 2 games Monday. There's only 7 games in the tournament. So it'll be short, quick, sweet, and I think it's going to be entertaining. At least I hope it's going to be entertaining, to say the least. So the Edmonton Oilers, of course, if you're an Oilers fan, McDavid's going up against 2 of his teammates tonight in Ekholm and Victor Arvidsson. Oilers fans are hoping that this tournament can somehow jumpstart Victor Arvidsson's season, because it has not been an overly productive season for Victor Arvidsson. But you never know. Hey, it can change. And, if Arvidsson can find a way to show up in the final third of the season and then into the playoffs, most things will be, forgiven might be a little bit of a stretch, but it'll be a little bit easier to accept for Oilers fans. And then, of course, you have USA and the depleted Finland team, who is without Heiskanen. They're out without Ristolainen. And I'm going to say they don't have much chance in this tournament, if I'm being honest. Hope I'm wrong, Finns fans, but I don't see it. Tonight, in this game, you will have, there's a lot of offensive players. 27 of the NHL's top 50 scorers are in the tournament. Canada, of course, has the most. They have 11. And then they have another 7 who are in the top 50 in scoring who aren't on the team. Mark Scheifele, Duchesne, Strome, Suzuki, Velarde, Bedard, and Johnston. USA has 8 of the top 50, and then 5 who aren't playing, including the injured Quinn Hughes. Finland has 4 in the top 50. Sweden has 5, but only 4 of them are playing in the tournament. Rickard Rakell, his 48 points. Like, honestly, if you're a Swedish fan, you're like, how the hell is Rickard Rakell not on this team? It's a little odd to me. He's top 50 scorer in the league, but he didn't make it. So, it happens. They look to build and whatever else, but like, I could see how some Swedish fans like, hey, no offense, Victor Arvidsson's ahead of Rickard Rakell right now. I don't really understand it, but who knows? Maybe you know what, they got different roles for guys, but it's not like they're blessed with an overabundance of offensive talent on that Finland team, on the Swedes. Finns have, of course, 2, both Rantanen and Marty Necas. And then the other 10 top 50 scores from other countries include Russia has 4, Germany has 2, of course, including Leon Draisaitl, Tim Stützle. Czechia has 2 with Pasternak and Necas. Austria with Marco Rossi. And Denmark with Nikolai Ehlers are the others to round out the top 50 scores in the National Hockey League. So you'll see a lot of them in this tournament. And I'm looking forward to it. I've heard, I'm not sure what to expect. I don't know where the comparison from the All-Star game comes from, but I think you're dreaming in technical. The All-Star game is about 50% pace. It's a no-hitter. It's super fun. This is going to be intense. It's going to be fast. It'll be physical. Trust me, this is going to be an intense game. You're playing for your country now. This game matters. The players, it's been a long time for all of them. Now, Crosby, Doughty, they won in 2010, the Olympics. That's 15 years ago. But they only played again in 14 and then again in 16. Trust me, there's lots of guys who have never represented their country before as a pro, like Connor McDavid, right? Well, I know he's at the World Championships, but it's not really the same. This is a true best on best. Lots of the best players, when you get to the World Championships, are still playing in the NHL playoffs. So this should be great. I'm looking forward to it. It's quick, it's short, it's sweet, and should be fun. I hope there's a little offense in it. I know Canada won the Olympics, 1-0, 2-1 games where they didn't give up anything. The game, they just didn't finish. The games are never really in doubt, but I hope we see a little bit more offense in these games starting tonight. On the program today, we got a loaded show. Mike Rupp is going to join us coming up off the top. Jake Seresna, big free agent signing, was sought after by a lot of teams, but Seresna elected to come to Edmonton. One of the main reasons, he knew the organization. He believed in the vision of Ed Hervey and Chris Morris, but also he's a huge fan of Demetrius Maxey, who is his D-line coach. So Serezna, Jared Brinkman, and Robbie Smith, all of them were D-linemen on the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts last year, and all of them signed as free agents. Brinkman was chuckling how on the morning of free agency, they were having a text chain between the three of them, talking about whether, are you going to go there? Okay, you're going to go there. I'm going to go there. And they all elected to come to Edmonton together and are huge fans of Demetrius Maxey. You know, you throw in the Elks linebackers, who last year were very good. And then you throw in the revamped secondary, which, of course, includes Trey Ford's twin brother, Terrell Ford, one of the fastest DBs, maybe the quickest DB, probably has the best hands of defensive backs. They got Royce McCletchy, the safety. And those guys are both Canadians. That's the other thing. So you got Smith, Ford, and McKetchie. That's three starting Canadians right there on your defense, not to mention their offensive line. Now, their quarterback, they don't designate Trey Ford as a Canadian because then your backup, you know what, if you lose that position, got to have a backup, so it can change the game. But his snaps that he takes in game count as the Canadian with the new rules. So the Elks are going to have lots of room to be flexible in who they want. They might have two American kickers potentially on the team between the punter and the kicker if they want it. If they're the best ones, that's what they can do because they have a lot of legit starting nationals. I like to call them Canadians because that's what they are. They're Canadian. And so we'll hear from Jake Serezna coming up in hour number one. Yaremchuk will join us. He is in Montreal for Daily Face-Off and Orders Nation, getting set for the Four Nations. Business of Sport with Ritch Winter. There's lots of business talk. If you have any questions, we will have a question period. I've saved some of the questions from the past, but if you want to resend them in, feel free. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 in our inbox. Also, we are going to hear from Speck later on. We will get to Ed Hervey and Mark Killam momentarily here as they spoke today as the GM and the head coach. And you know what? You just sense there's definitely some excitement around the team again. I get it on the text line. I get it on social media posts. People are excited. I've had people say, "Hey, man, I was on the fence last year. I didn't want to renew my tickets, but ever since they got the new owner, he hired Morris, they hired Hervey, I'm back in." And I think there'll be some people who are out who will come back in. Now, ultimately, you got to win some games. They're doing a lot of the right things off the field, great, but when push comes to shove, they're going to need to get things going offensively, no question, and defensively, and just have a winning product more often than not. Right, that's what you want. They don't got to be the best team in the league next year by any stretch. They just need to be competitive. I think we can all agree with that. Conman, what do you make of the revamped D-line for the green and gold? Three new secondary players. Some Canadian receivers. Offensive line, like there's some significant changes.
Yeah, and I think a good mix of guys who had individual success and team success as well. Tyrell Ford, 7 interceptions last year. You talk about good hands. That's ridiculous for a DB. Royce McCletchy comes over from Toronto where he won 2 Grey Cups in 3 seasons. Also won one as a rookie with the Stampeders back in 2018. And then building up front with the linemen. I mean, that's kind of the trademark of an Ed Hervey team. He did 5 starters on the first day of the tampering period that were Canadian. Like, that's ridiculous. Getting Jake Serezna back, we know how good he can be. A lot of fans were upset when he was traded, and Hervey brings him back, and that's a good move. He's coming off a Grey Cup victory as well. So I think they've done a really good job here with this offseason, top to bottom, starting off with Chris Morris, bringing in the new head coach with the coordinators who have ties to the green and gold in the local area, and then just hitting free agency with the players you've brought in. It's looking really good for the Edmonton Elks so far. Like you said, got to get it done on the field. That's the next step. But, Coach Killam's going to have them prepped, ready to go. That was kind of the calling card we've heard about him. Preparation is key. He's going to have his guys ready. And let's be honest, it didn't seem like that was the case for this team in the last couple of years here. So really excited to get it all going this season and excited to see who else they bring in here because what we also know about Ed Hervey, he's going to do good in free agency, but he's going to scout the U.S. collegiate ranks, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of years here, we're talking about some young, nice receiver that he found, a la Darrell Walker or some sort of player like that. Like he had him sitting on the practice roster for a while. I think this team's going to be a lot of fun to watch in the upcoming seasons.
Yeah. And Raquel was the late addition to the roster. He wasn't on the initial roster, which came out in December, but with William Karlsson being injured last week, that's right. Raquel is now on the roster, which is good. But keep in mind, he wasn't on their original roster. He is on there now, which I guess they got lucky in a sense, but not really, because I think they'd be better off having William Karlsson and Rickard Raquel. But I guess they righted it wrong in one sense that they got Raquel on, but he was a late addition after the injury to William Karlsson. Totally forgot about that brain fart. So thanks to Dave for reminding me. Appreciate it, Dave. Few other news and notes from the world of sport. Now, Deck, did you happen to find that dunk? Yes. Okay. So if you're watching online, you'll see it, but we're going to talk about it. So, of course, this is a 25-year anniversary of Vince Carter's slam dunk. And I was watching that the other day, and his third dunk was unreal. But we have a dunk up right now on our YouTube page, and we'll tweet it out. It was from the halftime show in Cleveland last night. That dunk, Connor Halley. So the guy comes up, picks it up like Carter, through the legs, but then as he goes through the legs, he spins and he's not even facing the rim. He's facing basically 180 up the court and slam dunks it behind him. I'm like, get the hell out of here. Like, that was unreal. And the worst part is I'm watching you're on TNT and somebody gives it a 9. I'm like, what? That is one of the most creative dunks I've ever seen. Like, some of the best dunkers aren't in the NBA. And I do wonder if they would ever do it. Because I'm telling you, if you want to spice up your dunk competition, you get some of these guys who are just like street ballers. But that dunk was unreal. Now, I know they did a little bit bringing up the G League guys, right? And he's been good. But that Cleveland dunk is one of the greatest dunks I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, Mac McClung would be kind of the poster boy for that, right? You talk about bringing him up from the G League, doesn't play in the NBA, but the league says, oh, this guy can throw down. Let's bring him up and add some excitement to the dunk contest. That's one of the things I like about it. That they're willing to go out there, even if you're not an all-star. We might have you take part in the 3-point competition, might have you take part in the dunk contest, because we want it to be good, and we don't want it to be superstars who are reluctant to go out there and do it. Like, we haven't seen LeBron show up and do it, or some of the big name players. So I really like that the NBA does that. And we talked about it going back lots of many years in the NHL All-Star game. Like, Trevor Zegras doesn't need to be an all-star, but if you're going to do an all-star shootout, you might want to have him there and just have these kind of guys who can add a little flair, a little dramatic to the stage.
100%.
The NBA gets that right.
Like, if you want this, and I think it's lame, every team needs to be represented, then how about include it in the skills competition? Yeah. So Anaheim Ducks aren't a very good team. They don't have an all-star, but you have Trevor Zegras. He can be in the breakaway competition. There's your Duck. He's there. You're fine. He's there for the weekend. Duck fans can be fine with it, because the NBA All-Star game, I don't see fans of the teams that aren't there being like, oh, I can't watch it. I don't have anybody from my team, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I get it, because there's not enough players. There's not enough positions to do it, so I understand it. But still, I don't think the NHL needs to do it, but that's just me. Hey, boys, I'm a 52-year season ticket holder. I'm pretty excited, from Greg. Well, Greg, that is commitment, man. 52 years. Unreal. When did you start going, Greg? Let me know. How old are you when you now, like, is this tickets in your family that you took over, or are you like in your 70s? And I mean, a season ticket holder for 52 years. It's amazing. Unreal. Hey, guys, any concern with the Elks receiving core? That one comes from Nails. That's a fair question. Ed Hervey, now keep in mind that this is coming from a guy who is a receiver. And Ed has always been pretty adamant that, you can go find receivers. He's not going to spend huge money on receivers. But I think that, Curly Gittins, he's legit. He's a starter on any team in the league. I think they're pretty high on Zach Mathis, right? Now, they don't have a first-round pick because of him, because the previous who took him. But trust me, there's going to be one, if not two, import receivers that you don't really know about that are going to be like, oh, they're pretty good, because you can find lots of them, right? I think Odom Dukes is somebody they think is going to be pretty good, Cons. So, we'll kind of see there. I think also, Arkell Smith. But you're right. Like I thought they were going to sign Tevin Jones, to be honest, but they didn't. He ended up going to Calgary. So I thought that was one guy they would bring back. But it's a fair question because they don't have like Gittins Jr. is their most experienced receiver for sure. But after that, yeah, they're gonna need some guys to kind of. They're not big household names, but every year in the CFL, there's a few receivers that aren't household names that have big years.
Yeah. Julian Grant has came over in free agency. He's a contributor about 500 receiving yards last couple years out in Montreal.
Yeah, he's more of a depth guy. I would look at him as that.
Yeah,
right? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, right?
But I mean, I just mentioned Darrell Walker was on the practice roster last in Ed Hervey's last go around, so he can find those guys. But you mentioned Zach Mathis, 6'7". Are you kidding me? Like, just check the ball up to him. Let's see what he can do. That's wild at the wide receiver position.
Yeah. So. Hey, guys, it looks like the Elks are building around the defense because they know that having a young quarterback still find his way that the offense may have struggles. Having a strong defense, maybe what the team needs this year for sure from not Fred. See, Trey Ford's numbers, if you break down his numbers last year, they're pretty good, right? In a situation that I don't think was overly conducive to success. He did not, the coach, the OC at times weren't the GM, they weren't the biggest supporters of Trey Ford. Publicly, that they put out some BS stuff about how Trey Ford, the reason he had said no to certain play calls early in the year, that was false. Right? It didn't matter how well he played. He had one bad game as a starter in his second year. Oh, suddenly he's benched for Bethel Thompson. I thought it was horrific, my own opinion, and how they used him. So I think he'll have stability there. Now he has a backup that, hey, you still got to perform, no question. And you know what? There's things he can work on and improve. He's a young QB, but I look at them and he's going to be a playmaker still. I think you watch. Don't be surprised if they could have one, if not two starting Americans on the O-line. They're going to want to, trust me, they will protect Trey Ford. They will want better protection this year. No question. They had pretty good run offense last year, but they will look to protect him even more this year. When we return, Mike Rupp will join us. We'll talk all things hockey, baby. The Four Nations, Sweden, you, Canada. And I'm curious from you as a listener, are you excited for this tournament? I'll be honest, I am. Now, granted, I don't, due to my job, I don't cheer for the Oilers, but I cheer for the country. And so it's nice to get excited for certain things. And just right now with a lot of else going on, I hope Canada kicks their ass. That's what I'm hoping for. We'll discuss it when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously... The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love, better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
90 days? You're telling me I can buy a 2024 or 2025 Buick or GMC from Wolf GMC Buick and make no payments for 90 days? Whoa, and you're telling me there's more? It's the final days of GMC's employee pricing on remaining 2024 Sierra HDs and Yukons? Clearly now is the time to buy a new vehicle. I'm heading to Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road. It's mere seconds east of the Anthony Henday. Wolf,
GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Okay, how about you give us your star winger for a bag of pucks? What if I throw in some Will Hawk beef jerky?
Yourself a trade.
With Wilhock Beef Jerky on their side, the Alberta teams definitely have an unfair advantage this trade deadline. Pick up some today and use it for trade leverage in your fantasy league.
No way, man. It's way too good.
Wilhock Beef Jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win trades with salad.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle.
Trouble low down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Miss golf during the off-season? Of course you do. So head to the Leduc Golf Club and try their state-of-the-art golf simulators. Perfect your swing, enjoy delicious food and beverages, and even book a lesson with one of the Leduc Golf Club pros. Whether you're a seasoned golfer or just starting, the Leduc Golf Club simulators offer a great way to keep your game sharp any time of the year. Call or visit the Leduc Golf Club today to book your spot and swing into action all year round.
Looking at the Alberta weather forecast, wild, unpredictable, brutally tough.
When the weather turns tough, Titan Supply doesn't back down. Titan Supply has been protecting workers from conditions like this for 50 years. We stand tall with you against the elements with the industry's best rigging, hauling, and lifting products to get you home safe. Tire chains, wire rope, round slings, chain slings, and a whole lot more. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary. Online at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Your first date was at a food truck. And remember that ring that was just a placeholder? You've always wanted the best for her. And this Valentine's Day, you can get her the best beautiful bouquet. From Bunches Flowers, with petals that pop, colors that catch the eye, and the fragrance of a spring bloom.
They're gorgeous.
Let her know she'll never be less than the best. With affordable luxury from Bunches Flowers. Pre-order now at bunchesflowers.com.
At Schwab Buick GMC, our boss is serious about cutting prices on vehicles like Sierras and Silverados. When?
Right Schwabbing now! Right Schwabbing now!
So when he sees the MSRP, he says,
That's not Schwabbing good enough!
He's always looking for more.
Dig the Schwab in!
Save with 0% financing or lease rates as low as 1.9% on 2024 half-ton trucks.
Right now!
At Schwab Chevrolet Buick GMC in Leduc. Right Schwabbing now!
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. This week at Papa John's, enjoy a medium 2-topping pizza and choice of dessert for only $25.99. Use code LOVEDAY at papajohns.ca or use the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.223, welcome back, Gregor. Halley. Wednesday afternoon, happy hump day. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game, of course, the classic. Lotto 649. Draw goes every Wednesday. Tonight, hey, somebody won it last week. Was it you? Hope so. 12 mil, though, up for grabs tonight. Nobody won the Lotto Max, so Fridays will be up to $25 million. Also, of course, you can use the promo code Gregor50 and get in on lots of action. Of course, we've got 4 nations tonight. Canada, U.S., no surprise. Canada comes in as the favorite in the game, but I don't think anybody's surprised by that. You mentioned Canada has 11 of the top 50 point scorers in the NHL on their roster, including Shea Theodore. Very quietly, Shea Theodore has had himself a really good season offensively for the Vegas Golden Knights. Get to Mike Rupp in a second. Of course, we will go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and stop in at McD's, of course, because right now, the showdown for the ages, McDavid versus Matthews. Find out who's the best and try some top-line menus like the Smoky Quarter Poppy or the Big Mac David. The showdown menu is only available at McDonald's. Highly recommend the triple cheeseburger. No onions, please, for me. No onions. So, and we do have that dunk now up on our Sports 1440 Twitter page if you want to see it. But honestly, that is, I would give that a 52 out of 50, Connor. Creativity, but also the no look in the air, like the body control to be able to be looking up the court as you're spinning and then dunk behind you. Come on, it's awesome.
And to do it like on that stage, you know,
Yeah.
like it's one thing, maybe you're at the Y with your buddies, you're an elite dunker, but then you go to a halftime of an NBA game. That's a problem though. Every NBA dunk contest, they're handing out 10s way too early.
I agree.
Like you get them just throwing it up and like, how are you going to top that? Like there's going to be a better dunk and we can't leave them a 52. That's my one qualm with the NBA dunk contest. We got some guys that are just too eager to hand out 50s.
Yeah, no, that's fair, buddy. I'd agree with you on that one for sure. So, do we got Rupper? We do. All right, let's bring in Mike Rupp, of course, from the NHL Network, color analyst for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Stanley Cup champion. Rupper, how are you, my man?
I'm good, Greg. How you doing, bud?
Good. Well, hey, you got your wish, Rupper. Last week at this time, you were like, "Are you kidding me? I waited this long to get McKinnon, McDavid, and Crosby together, and it didn't happen." Well, Sid the Kid is still the kid, and he is going to play tonight. Those three will be on the ice for a power play at least. Crosby and McKinnon on the same line to at least start the game 5-on-5. If you're John Cooper, how long before you're going to play McKinnon and McDavid 5-on-5?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's just an open, clean slate. It's open for anything right now. I mean, there's so many options you can do with this roster. I mean, with all those things that we want to see, and we're talking about the power play, it looks like what I would create as a kid on a video game. Is just kind of making a fake team. It almost feels like you want to see the superstars playing together. But then the player in me thinks that this team would be most dangerous if you kind of spread it out a little bit too. So I don't know which way they're going to go as far as at some point if they kind of switch it up. I mean, there's so many different options, but man, that's a lot of weapons to have on your roster.
What do you make of Team Sweden? What are you expecting tonight?
They're like, I'm not sleeping on Team Sweden. That is the best decor in the tournament. Hands down, I think it's the best decor. I mean, they've got legitimately 3 shutdown defensemen. And that's not even if you're talking Forsling, Ekholm, and Brodin. I'm not even talking about Victor Hedman. You know what I mean? So they've got I think the best decor in the tournament. They're not going to be able to, I think, maybe carry play up front like Team USA or Team Canada, but they're going to be a difficult out. So we'll see how effective their decor can be. But I think they've got a very good chance in this tournament.
Yeah, you know, Brodin, Dahlin, Ekholm, Forsling, Hedman, Carlson, they're good. But yeah, to me, their offensive firepower is going to be the question to match Canada. They just don't have it. Now with Bratt coming in for William Karlsson, they do have 5 guys in the top 50 in scoring. So, but Canada has 11. And, you know, and then they have another 8 who didn't even make the team, for goodness sakes, including Mark Scheifele. That's probably the biggest kind of maybe question mark for Canada. But you look at this, like from John, we've seen coaches in the past, like the last Olympics in 2014, Canada just didn't give up anything, right? Like at all. That might have been the most dominant defensive performance. Now, it wasn't overly riveting, to be honest. The games were rather kind of boring, I felt at times, because there just wasn't a lot of scoring chance. Canada didn't give up anything. Do you think that this, like, are we going to see some offense here, or are we going to see tight checking?
I mean, I think we're going to see offense. I don't know if it's me hoping to see offense, but I just, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's every tournament, even when you go back to the World Cup, they're all short tournaments. I feel like this one is abnormally short, and I think that would kind of give to, I think, more offense. I think we're going to see a lot of offensive games. I would expect higher scoring games, but you never know. I mean, some of these teams that you've got the ability to shut things down. But I just think in the short tournament with all the talent, especially with, I think Team USA and Team Canada are going to try to open things up a little bit. I just do. I don't think they're going to go in there with a defensive mindset necessarily. They're going to go into games and try to keep a thumb on individuals, but I don't think you're going to play this defensive style at all.
Erik Karlsson, you know what? Because of his contract and some of his defensive numbers, people are like, oh, geez, man, he's not that good. If he has a good tournament, do you think Kyle Dubas teams might come calling, and would Dubas be at all interested, do you think, to move him if they retain some salary?
It's funny you're saying this. I was talking with some guys that I work with at the network, and I was like, don't be shocked. There could be a world here where Erik Karlsson wins MVP of this tournament. And just because what he's doing, and we know about the defensive lapses in his game, he still drives offense. His numbers and his underlying numbers are great when he's on the ice. This is it'll be very interesting how he looks in this tournament, and how and if that changes some things as far as the NHL minds are concerned. I don't think so, Greg's. I mean, I guess I don't know. I think everybody knows what Erik Karlsson is. I just don't think that. I just don't think there's going to be much movement, or I don't see him getting moved out of Pittsburgh. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know what team would necessarily do that. There's nights where he looks all world, and there's nights where it seems like he's playing a different game. So, I don't know. We'll see. But you want, as a general manager and as a player, if you want something to happen, the biggest thing we're always told as players, you just got to perform. You got to play well in order to get some conversations had. So we'll see if this tournament does that.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious. I know you cover him a lot, and we talk because he does drive a lot of offense. But when you see the defensive lapses, is it just is it a lack of willingness? Because it can't be that he doesn't understand the game and how he should play. It's just that he doesn't want to commit to defense. Is that it?
So no, I don't believe that it's a lack of want, which some people might say automatically. No, 100% it is. I don't think he's programmed. I don't think he knows, and he's never been worked with on how to do that, right? Like he has always been looked at just being what he is, and he is. And I think we were going over some of these numbers on here with you a few weeks back, where I was doing a dive on him as far as he generically speaking, he led the NHL in players and chances for, goals against, all that stuff. Goals for. While he's on the ice, he drives offense, number one in the National Hockey League, but he's also the worst in the National Hockey League in all those same categories against. So I just think that the thing for him, he doesn't have a defensive conscience. Every decision is based on going to score a goal. It could be 11-0, and he's legitimately is trying to make the same play to make it 12 as it would be if it was 0-0. And sometimes you look at it and I kind of like it because you know what you're getting, but then you're going to have those moments where you're like, man, if you just did this, we wouldn't have allowed them to get some momentum and come back in the game. That's just, honestly, that's just how he's always been. Remember that stretch though? Remember when he was towards the end of his tenure in Ottawa? There was this push where people were like, well, he actually defends well. Like he's better than what people think. And I think it was just that when he controls the puck and he controls offense, that is pretty good defense.
Yeah.
But you're going to have these moments in the game where there's a right play to make, and he doesn't make those right plays.
Yeah. And I think at times, like, I know when he was in San Jose, like the coaching staff just gave him free reign to almost do whatever he wants. The team was bad. And it was like, well, hey, however he wants to play, it doesn't matter. Cause he had an unreal year for sure offensively and on a team that wasn't very good. And man, he was on the ice all the time, but he was making plays that you would have, midget AAA coaches pulling their hair out over.
Yeah. But with that being said though, Greg's like, he's still to this point, like there should be no conversation. Erik Karlsson's long in the tooth. Like he can't do those things. He's still like,
still do it.
When I'm watching and covering the games, he is all world, like offensively. Like he'll do stuff still now. And you're like, oh my God, how did he do that? Like he is a super, super talented player. he has a hard time doing what's right on the scoreboard as opposed to just getting to that next goal.
Yeah. Mike Rupp joins us here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Rupper, first of all, where are you? What building are you outside of? What's the big MLB behind you?
So yeah, let me see. I can't do this ever when I'm holding things.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm at NHL Network, so MLB NHL Network, same building here, and getting ready. We got a little pre-show before Canada Sweden here.
Now, how is this being received in the United States, Rupper? Because I know the game is on Saturday's game is like on ABC, which is great for hockey, right? Because I just saw a report that there's so many games, there's so many cable conflicts going on in the States right now that a lot of these teams, fans in some markets are struggling just to be able to watch their own team. So obviously this will be a big boon. Do you think Americans are very patriotic? Are they going to get behind this tournament?
I hope so. I mean, it's kind of the perfect storm right now, because I sat here after the Super Bowl on Sunday. It was Monday night. I was sitting there and I'm at home and I'm like, it's kind of depressing that we don't really have any sports tonight, is what I was thinking. We had I guess the NBA, you had the Luka Doncic first game as a Laker, right? So that was the draw that night. I mean, NBA is certainly playing right now. And so I'm thinking to myself, it's just kind of that perfect time where, I think the opportunity's there. I hope we really capitalize on it, and people are watching, because this is what we've been hoping for as a league, as fans of hockey. And we always have that. All hockey fans have that chip on their shoulder where we don't feel like we're respected as much as the other big major sports in the States. Well, this is our opportunity. Our product, we love our product. The product is incredible, and we're going to see it on display here. So that's why, Greg's, in these situations, I want to see 6-5 game. I want to see Connor get 4 points in this game. That is good for what we have right now in the short 100%. Tournament. And we need to see that. I don't want to, and I'm one of them. You've talked to me at playoff time. I want to see a 2-1 nail biter, but not now. I want this to be a huge platform to grow the game, and we've been waiting for this for a long time. I hope it takes off. I mean, it's putting on the two networks are putting it on and working together, so I hope it goes off big.
Yeah, Rupper, I could not agree with you more in the fact you want to get the non-hockey fan, because the hockey fans are watching.
Yeah.
And you want to get the non-hockey fan, you have lead changes and you have goals. You don't have 2-1 game. I'm sorry, that's not going to bring in the fan. The fan who is not, I'm not really sure what I'm watching. Oh, geez, there's a big hit. Oh, geez, there's another goal. Now, what is happening here? It's end to end, and there's some chances. And you need that. You don't need 2-1, great defensive efforts at all. I'm sorry, that's not going to open up to new fans. And it's 100%, and I hope it happens. You look at tonight, I hope, my God, at least they can combine to score 7 goals, for goodness sakes, right? I don't need Sweden playing, the boring sit back defensive style hockey. At times, if hockey wants to grow, look at the NFL. The NFL was already big, and they've changed all the rules to make sure that they have more offense in the regular season, and more big plays opportunities. They pass the ball way more than they ever had before, because that's what the average non-diehard fan gets attracted to.
Yeah, they want to see that. They want to see that kind of action. And I just think that, that was kind of the first question you asked me, that a short tournament like this, I think it's very hard to be well connected and on the same page defensively. So that's just going to lead you to what you do best. These guys are super talented. I want to see plays being made. And if you try some of those plays and they don't work, guess what? It might turn into a scoring chance against, and I'm here for that as well.
Yeah. Robert, when you look at Team USA, now Quinn Hughes, that's a massive blow. Yeah. Massive blow. It probably takes their defense to probably third best defense score in the tournament behind Sweden and Canada, I would say, without Quinn Hughes in the tournament. You look at their top lines, and I know they don't want to look past but I won't get to talk to you before Saturday. That Canada-US game, I've heard a lot of the American, hey, you know what? We want to show how we are against Canada. And I think Canadians are like, oh, yeah, well, we still want to show you that we're the top dog. I can't wait for that game. I think it's going to be awesome. U.S. have a few shift disturbers on their team, and I think Canada has enough guys that push come to shove who can bite back.
Yeah, I agree. Man, I can't wait. It's funny. Hope my family's not watching. I have a family come in this weekend. I'm so bummed they're going to be there Saturday. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm going to go watch the game on my own, but it's going to be, it's must watch television. I mean, this is all the hype and all the as far as the U.S. team and what they think they can do here. I love the build of their team. There's just something in me that when I just look at the best 4 players in the world, all play for Canada. So I mean, are you going to be able to stop that? And it's not going to be more than that. Obviously, you're going to have other. You can't win with just 4 players playing. Well, maybe you can if they're that great, but I still think it's Canada's tournament to lose. And so we'll see what Team USA does. But I also think Team USA is pretty green. I don't have it in front of me. I think only 2 Stanley Cup champs. You know what I mean? I think that matters. That matters, I think. And Team Canada, man, it's that's going to be really fun to watch. And you got those shift disturbers on Team USA. You know you're going to be after it, but at the end of the day, I think that they're going to be trying to catch a moving train here. It's going to be a good game.
And let's make sure they limit the goal reviews and any review to maximum 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not the time for the typical NHL 8-minute review. God help us. God help us.
Yes, exactly.
Rupper, enjoy it, man. Have a good broadcast. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Awesome. Enjoy, buddy.
There you go. That's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network and Pittsburgh Penguins. Analyst Jake Serezna, D lineman, back for his second tour duty with the green and gold. He will join us. We'll get your thoughts. I'm with Rupper, man. I hope we see some goals. I know, and every game has some offense. I don't need picturesque defense. Canada Cup game was great. No one thought, well, you know what? There was too many scoring chances for me. Get the hell out of here. No one ever says that. Ever. Ever, never, never. Doesn't happen. Because you're excited. You're on the edge of your seat. It's back and forth. It's chance after chance. Great goals. Hope we see it starting tonight. We'll return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today. You've probably heard the word rehab before, but when GS Construction talks about rehab, we mean bringing aging infrastructure back to life. Water and sewer systems that keep our communities flowing. GS Construction needs skilled pros who know how to get it done safely and efficiently, and that's why we're hiring. If you're a foreman or a pipe layer, apply to a company that's building for Edmonton and area for 2025. Join a team that's as solid as the infrastructure we restore. Visit gsconstruction.ca and join our crew today.
Get fired up for Family Day weekend Oil Kings hockey at Rogers Place.
Saturday night, Edmonton looks to make rubble on the double of the Humdinger Lethbridge Hurricanes because it's Paw Patrol night.
Your Oil Kings suit up in specialty jerseys right out of Adventure Bay. Each one will be raffled off in support of the Stollery Children's Hospital Foundation after the game.
And Calmont Kids Food combos are on the case. Just $10 or less. Value bigger than the Paw Patroller.
Oil Kings Paw Patrol night, Saturday at 7.
Family fun that's second to none, starting at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork.
Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantorque.com.
A Monday warrior, mean strike. Today's Tom Sawyer.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the PWHL Takeover Tour, featuring a matchup between the Toronto Scepters and Ottawa Charge, Sunday, February 16th at Rogers Place. Premium seating is available. Check out available suites, theater boxes, and loge tables. Head to rogersplace.com/PWHL.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling right along. Wednesday afternoon, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, as we get to our Elks report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. They are hiring HVAC installers and plumbers, starting bonuses to the right candidate. Also, strong benefits, RRSP matching, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply today at legacyheating.ca. And we are joined now by his second tour with the Green and Gold, fresh off of hoisting the Grey Cup. New defensive lineman for the Edmonton Elks, Jake Seresna, joins us once again. Jake, welcome back to Edmonton, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back, and I'm excited for the future and ready to go.
Jake, it's unique. Like, you come back to a place you know very well, and you liked it so much you brought two of your good buddies, in Jared Brinkman and Robbie Smith from your D-line in Toronto. It's kind of unique. I know Jared was talking about it in the press conference earlier today, how the three of you were kind of texting back and forth in a group chat. Hey, are you going? Okay, I'm going. Away you go. And it's just, you're able to bring that continuity and a winning attitude to Edmonton.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how it all shook out in free agency, all of us going over to Edmonton. I didn't think that's what was going to happen, but, I'm glad it did. And I really like playing with Brink. I really like playing with Robbie Smith. Those guys are great football players, great pass rushers, high character guys. They bring a lot on the field, and couldn't be better with playing with them here in Edmonton.
Give me a scouting report for Elks fans. What does Brinkman do best?
He's like a bully, man. He's a powerful guy, strong. He's going to punch people in the face, just, theoretically, but just really tough guy. He's going to stop the run, and you're really just not going to be able to move him off of the line of scrimmage at all. Just probably one of the strongest guys in the CFL, and he's going to give you everything he's got.
And Robbie Smith.
He's a young up-and-coming Canadian talent in the CFL, a great pass rusher, great edge guy. Very underappreciated. He lots of talent, and he just slipped here or there on 5 or 6 plays last year where we could be talking about him leading the league in sacks.
Okay, so you're getting a playmaker for sure for Elks fans. Now, Jake, you were very happy your first time in Edmonton, and then you got traded. You didn't. A lot of people questioned that trade at the time. Obviously, it worked out personally for you very well. You went to Toronto and you had lots of success, and everybody knows what happened to the Elks since you left. But, coming back to Edmonton, the comfort level of the organization and maybe even knowing the city, I know you were highly sought after. Lots of teams were talking to you. Ultimately, what led you to believe that Edmonton was the best choice for you at this stage of your career?
Yeah, just the changes they made on the coaching staff. Obviously, they brought back Demetrius Maxey as a defensive line coach, who I've worked with since 2018 in Edmonton and in Toronto. That was a huge addition to the Elks, and a guy that I personally love playing for, and know he'll always have my back. So bringing him into the coaching staff was a huge step. And then also, bringing back former Elks Eskimos guys like Chris Morris, Ed Hervey, Aaron Grimes, J.C. Sherritt, Jason Tucker on the coaching staff, bringing in other guys like Mark Killam and other people into the organization, that I just felt like it was going to be very good for me to go back. And, when I sat down and thought about it, at the end of the day, what would mean the most to me would be winning a Grey Cup in Edmonton. So, Ed and Chris were very strong in their push to bring me back here. And, it just, everything kind of lined up, and I said, you know what, it's meant to be. And here we are.
So when you look, and I know you talked very glowingly about Demetrius Maxey and the skills that, he's very good at letting you be the player you are. He challenges you for who you are, but he knows what your strengths are and helps to improve your strengths. And we know that the front seven has to be cohesive. There's no question about it. And so you bring in, the D-line plus the guys they've got existing here. But you got Nick Anderson, who had a breakthrough rookie season at linebacker last year. Niles Morgan, who's been around the league for a long time. When you look at their skill sets, like their tackles are going to go down because the D-line is going to be better. That's just, and I talked to Nick about it. He's like, hey, it's nice to have all the tackles, but sometimes, there's a lot of broken plays that lead to that. So how do you even see kind of, when you look at this skill set of Anderson and Morgan and how that kind of connects to this defensive front?
It's great. You want to have a strong front seven up front. And when you have great linebackers and great defensive linemen, that usually means you're able to stop the run and get teams to be one-dimensional and throw the ball around. And that's exactly what I'd like to have, because I'd like to go sack the quarterback a bunch of times and let our DBs get some interceptions, and that usually means we're winning the football game. So, that when that front seven's on fire and playing together and you can stop the run and hold people to under 100 rushing yards a game and not a lot of yards per carry, you're going to be a dangerous defense.
Jake, did you notice last season across the CFL, you were tied for the sack lead with 4 other guys, but nobody had double digits in sacks. Guys are throwing the ball quicker. What led to kind of across the league, nobody getting double digits in sacks? What did you see different from a D lineman perspective last year?
Yeah, that was a tough one. I definitely think the ball was getting out a little quicker. Teams were playing different coverages around the league as well. And then I don't know. I was playing on grass over in Toronto, slipping a lot too. So
okay.
That could be part of the reason, but who knows? I think sacks are going to be back up this year for sure. I think you're going to see a few guys be at least 3 or 4 guys being double digits again, and it'll be good to see.
And, a few of the other players, like when you were watching, so you signed with the Elks, and, were you aware that they were looking at all the other free agent signings, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, because you had a lot of D linemen, but you also had a lot in the secondary. A guy you played with in McCletchy, and then of course, Terrell Ford, the All-Star in Winnipeg, and others. Were you well aware of that? Was in the part of the conversations you had with Hervey and Morris, were you confident it's not just me that's coming to Edmonton, there's going to be a group of guys coming?
I knew there was going to be. I didn't know exactly who was coming over, but in my conversations with Ed and Chris Morris, I knew there was going to be a culture shift, and I knew they were bringing in great pieces into the organization. Kind of when I made my decision, so I didn't know it was going to be Brink and Robbie and Tyrell Ford and Royce Metchie. It's kind of more than I expected, to be honest with you, but that's great, and that just shows a commitment that the new people here in Edmonton have to making sure that the Elks are successful in the future.
You've seen lots of young quarterbacks. You played against lots of them. What excites you most about being on Trey Ford's team now?
His playmaking ability, just the way he scrambles and runs around, playing like he's in the backyard like it's a kid's game. I mean, it's super exciting to watch, and I'm just glad I don't have to play against them and have to run all over the field again trying to catch the guy. So that'll probably help me get more sacks next year too, and not having to be running around trying to catch it and probably a lesser mobile quarterback I'd be able to tackle.
Well, Jake, welcome back to Edmonton. Best of luck in your return in the green and gold. And I know there are many fans that are hoping you and your teammates can lead the Elks back to respectability this season.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And, it's not going to be a rebuild. We're here to win. So I'm excited for it.
There you go. There's Jake Ceresna. I like that. Not a rebuild. Here to win. And they think about it. So Toronto won they got 4 guys from their Grey Cup winning defense, 3 on the D line, and then, of course, the safety coming in, and now they're starting in Edmonton. You throw in Ford, who all he's done since he's been in the CFL is go to the Grey Cup. Right now, he's only been in the league 2 years, but they went to the Grey Cup both times. Won one, lost one. That's all he knows. So he's got a winning attitude. He took huge strides last year. Jumping up to 7 interceptions and getting comfortable. And when you have a playmaker, and then when you have a defensive front that can consistently get pressure, well, that's an opportunity now for DBs to get more picks, because quarterback might be rushing a throw. I look, then you throw in the 2 linebackers that they got in Anderson and Morgan, and there's a lot of reasons to like their defense for sure. I do like what they did on the offensive line, and I don't think they're done on the O-line, just so you know. I think there's going to be some real strong competition amongst imports on the O-line. I think it's valid. It was brought up earlier today. Like they don't have a lot of experienced receivers. That's fair. So that's one. But as Connor Halley pointed out, remember Darrell Walker's breakout year? Never heard of Darrell Walker, right? How many people had heard of Jason Tucker before? Right? How many people have heard of Terry Vaughn at Herbie? Like there's lots of receivers that come up now, not necessarily in their first year. Darrell Walker and Jason Tucker, that was a little bit abnormal to be first year and be that good, but it happens across the league. And so that's where it's up to Hervey and their scouting staff and the organization to ensure that they got some playmakers that Trey Ford can get the ball to. Because that Trey Ford is going to be able to extend drives. That's a fact. We've seen it. Now, but they do need a few consistent, really good route runners that the quarterback knows in time of need, I can throw a 50-50 ball and my guy's going to get it more often than not. Just has to happen. 2:58 coming up. More on Four Nations. Also, we'll get your thoughts. 833-401-1440. We have some non-sports conversations, which is always fun. We'll time in with sports, but that's coming up after Connor Halley. And a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. All of a sudden, your furnace conks out tonight. On the weekend, guess what? No overtime charges. That's eligible to Legacy at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game 1 of the Four Nation face-off gets going tonight. The Canadians taking on Sweden out in Montreal. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock in that one in the association. Busy night, all 30 teams in action, including the Toronto Raptors, who will host the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tip-off at 5:30. You also have the Bucks in Minnesota. Pelicans taking on the Kings. Heat in OKC. Nuggets and Blazers. Jazz, Lakers, Warriors in Dallas. And the Clippers hosting the Mavericks. Edmonton Oil Kings in action down at Rogers Place, hosting the Regina Pats. Puck drop 7 o'clock. It's Wednesday. $2 hot dogs all game long. In the AJ, you got Port, Mac in Camrose, and Old will host Lloyd. Puck drop 7 o'clock there. And in the PWHL, Boston taking on the New York Sirens. That starts at 5. From the majors, Pete Alonso signing with the New York Mets once again. 2 years, $54 million, including a $10 million signing bonus. That is a $20 million deal in 2025, plus the player option in 2026 for $24 million. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll ask 5 questions and be joined by Tyler Yaremchuk of Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe in the wisdom of Patch Adams. Treat a disease, you win, you lose. Treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what the outcome. We don't treat conditions, we treat people. From personalized treatment plans to compassionate care, we're committed to helping you achieve your goal. That's why hands-on techniques, unique technologies, and a commitment to hiring amazing people mixed with friendly, fun neighborhood environments. And ta-da! No, it's not magic. It's about being human. Sometimes being human hurts, but life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Hey, did you know you can get a free drink today?
Nice. I love free drinks.
Yeah, Booster Juice called your name today on the Booster Rewards app. So you get a free smoothie, booster mixer, or fresh juice.
Well then, why are we still sitting here just talking about it?
Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. 2 names every day, all February long. Must be a Booster Rewards app member. For complete details, visit boosterjuice.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Your courtside seat awaits on Sports 1440. I'm Paul Sir, and I host the basketball show every Saturday morning from 10 to noon on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440. Don't miss it. I'll catch you this weekend.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news. Order Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch holiday and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Imagine a family get-together where the smiles are as genuine as the conversations. That's the feeling you get at Nisku Ford, a family-owned dealership where finding a new Ford feels just like catching up with old friends. Swing by in February as the 2024 model clear-out continues. Cash in on rebates of up to $9,000 or access finance rates as low as 0%. The coffee's on, so drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock. Welcome back. How are you? Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It's always the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And oh my goodness, the big story in sports. Well, it's not maybe that big, but the big story in the fact that I don't know if an organization can be as thin-skinned and as whiny as the Dallas Mavericks right now, because they kicked fans out of a game for chanting "Fire Nico." That's their general manager, Nico Harrison. Right? Like, are you serious? You kick people out of the game for chant, and they put you on the big screen, and someone just moved their lips. People don't hear you because you're just on the camera, right? There's no mic on you. Just read your lips. You got kicked out of the game. Like, are we serious right now? So I'm trying to ask Like, remember when Oiler fans weren't allowed to bring in Chris Pronger signs after he left? Remember that joke? Now, if you want to not allow a sign that's really crude, okay, sure, I get it. Like, there's certain things you can't just write anything. I understand that. But, there was some who had baby soothers and stuff like that. No, geez. No. And I'm like, I just found it interesting where the organization at that time had opted to protect somebody who gave the proverbial middle finger to the city and said, "Oh, your fans, it's your pleasure to pay tickets and come and watch us." Right? It's your pleasure. It's not your right, which is technically true. It isn't. But I don't know. I find at times that, the organization just, you get lost track. And Dallas right now is one where the trading Luka Doncic. And here's the thing. The story came out that they had approached some other teams, which made sense. If you're going to trade Luka Doncic, you might as well see who you can get for him. Right? They called the Timberwolves, who obviously weren't going to trade their young superstar. They even called the Bucks. And the Bucks said no, which is kind of interesting, Connor Halley, because there's lots of questions whether or not the Greek Freak's going to stay in Milwaukee long term. Now, they just moved Middleton, so I don't know. They brought in from Portland, why is his name escaping me? Damian Lillard, right, to give him a superstar player, which he definitely has, but he still hasn't committed long term to that organization. So they were clearly shopping him. This was not just it was Anthony Davis and we decided to pull the trigger. They were shopping him around the league, which is, I guess, if you're going to trade him, you should shop him for sure. But I look at organization. So I guess and trying to think for fans, if we could go back, like some of the most thin-skinned moments that you can call from pro franchises in North America. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Because, there's been a few of them. There's no question about it. Also, we'll get to that one. And then also want to chat about, do you ever go to yoga?
Never been to yoga. No.
So you've never done yoga?
I've done some YouTube videos.
What do you mean? You've sat at home and watched the YouTube video and did yoga at your house?
Yeah. There were some it was like to help you sleep. I was trying some relaxing ones, but never gone to a class.
Okay. And so how many yogas did you do on video?
It's not something I've continued. Maybe like 5 to 10 occasions I've done it.
So you do it once and then you don't do it again for a month or what?
It's more so I did it for a couple of weeks and then I was like, I don't know if this is necessarily helping me that much.
Okay. All right.
I'm not opposed to it. Like I had, it just wasn't maybe for me.
All right. So because I had set a goal for myself for the calendar year of 2025 on, I did some measuring. My weight's pretty much always the same. So, change what I eat a little bit. I want to lose about an inch around my belly button. That's my goal. But I wanted to get more mobility, not flexibility per se. I'm not going to be a gymnast. It's not going to be part of it, but more flexibility. So there's less tightness. So, doing certain training, doing mobility exercises. Like I don't do like those, I don't even know what it's called, but like the really long stretches. I don't know if that's yin or yang yoga. I don't even know which one it is, but I went to one of those classes accidentally one time. And I'm like, I can't hold I'm so tight in certain ones. I'm like, I don't want to hold for 2 minutes. It's just not my thing. So whoever does it, great. But I went to this, I found if I'm going to go to yoga, I need to go where it's the 40. I like the hot yoga. I find I get more out of it, even if it's just like slow moving and, the happy body yoga. Some of you are way more yogis, if that's the term, than I am. But I have been going, right, once a week, and I'm going to slowly go up to twice a week. But I'm realizing like certain poses are just like, it is hard. Like way more difficult than I thought. Like certain ones of the balance was, and then I look around the room and I'm like, well, obviously this person's been in here for I don't know how many years. But anyway, I had an instructor the other day, a guy who, I don't know, I'm going to guess 60 to 65. In really good shape for 60 to 65. But I was blown away by the mobility that he had. And I talked to him after the class about it. Well, I've been doing this for 15 years. He stretches and moves all the time and runs and everything else like that. And some of it is sure, like, I'm like, man, I don't think I could ever get to that point. Now, maybe I could. Like, a goal of mine is to just touch my toes. I think that's a very basic one. I should be able to touch my toes in a month by doing the stuff normally. But I'm curious. I want to ask the yoga people to go, because here's my two problems. So you get into the class and the instructor just, okay, we're doing this. Now we're going to, and they keep naming the exercises. But how do you welcome new people? I don't know the name. I don't know what the lizard is. I have to look, right? And, you're watching, but then they go, now lizard this and that. And you're like, what? I'm just trying to survive over here. So I guess, like, when you go to yoga, are they expecting you to, like, memorize all the poses before you go? It seems somewhat elitist. It's like they don't want newcomers to come in. Because I'm like, I don't know what the hell the lizard is. Right? Like, I know downward dog. And, I think there's a few other ones I kind of know now a little bit, but not very much. So I'm curious to the guys out there who are different. We're built different than ladies. Gents, hardest yoga pose for you? I'm curious. Cons, you know what the lizard is?
Sure don't.
Okay, good.
I can look it up.
Yeah, well, you look up the lizard pose. Well, and who knows if it's universal. That's why are you laughing?
Can you do this pose?
Not very comfortably, no. No, I can't.
My God.
Yeah, like
hips don't bend that way, do they?
Yeah, dude. Like I can get into it. Like, it's bring your leg. So basically, for anybody out there, it's the lizard pose is where they want you to you're sitting. Now I can't do it like they do with their forearms on the ground, and you bring your right leg is straight back, and your left leg is your knee is up at your shoulder and your elbow almost parallel, and now you're down flat. Now I can do the pose if I have blocks and I put my hands on them. So now I'm like 6 inches, and obviously as you get more comfortable, but like I was watching, I was like, are you joking? Like I saw the lizard pose as beginners where you can just do it, where it's like a long lunge, right? And I was like, oh, we get in the lunge. And I was like, now go into your lizard pose. And I'm like, but I don't bring blocks. Like I'm such a rookie. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So then I'd get up and go get the blocks, whatever. But the lizard pose was the one that I was just like, what the hell is happening right now? Like, I just wonder how long it takes for someone to be able to do the lizard pose. So
I'm looking at it's like a plank, and then you just crank your left foot up to your elbow.
Kind of, yeah. But a plank sometimes is, if it's a forearm plank.
But yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a forearm plank.
So now we got a picture for the YouTube crowd who are watching.
Like, come on. Any of you guys out there do it? Anybody? Curious. Try it right now. Anybody? Because like, oh, yeah, I can do it. Send us a picture of you in the lizard pose. I'm sure there's some that can, but it's damn hard. And I'm just saying, for yoga places, maybe like at least have a picture of the poses on the wall. That's just an idea, right? Because if you want to bring new people in, right? Like I'm not studying before I take the test. Like it's not a test, right? You got to do it first. And then maybe after a month, they should ask you, hey, do you know what the lizard pose is? Yes, now I know what the lizard pose is. But they just come in new ones all the time.
A cheat sheet would be good. On the ground in front of you?
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah. But now in hot yoga, it's not going to work. Well, I'd probably have to laminate it. Otherwise, it gets super sweaty.
You need like the quarterback wristband.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I used to do hot yoga 5 days a week. I knew the basic poses going in, slowly learned them. It's amazing. Keep going, from Sean. Now, do you still do it, Sean? 5 days a week. See, that's a big commitment. I don't think I could do 5 days because I mix it in. I've got I love the Peloton workouts that I'm doing, not just the biking or the other working. I'm a big fan of Adrian, A-Dub, as they call him on Peloton. Big fan of his. But I find the hot yoga for me, probably because I'm tighter, I get lubricated more while I'm in there. So I feel like by the end of it, I'm like, oh, geez, for me, I'm becoming more mobile.
Well, that's what it's called?
Well, yeah, the one when you lay on your back and you grab. Well, anybody can do it. Can I do it straight legged? Of course not.
No. That's a good relaxing one, though. That was part of the wind down from the long day. You do the baby pose for that's when I remember. Nice and easy.
Hey, guys, I'm a big fan of hot yoga, mainly because I'm the only guy from Corey. Well, that's true. I wasn't in hot yoga the other day, but I was the only guy in the class. I don't know. I didn't love it. I'm into yoga to survive, right? Like I don't have time to be looking around and, hey, you know what? Hey, she filling out the yoga pants nice over there. Like I'm sure it'd be nice, but it's not, Not yet. Like maybe when I got more comfortable where I feel like I can get in the room and I'm not going to die here. Maybe. But hey guys, what if I told you could touch your toes in 3 seconds? My friend taught me this in the golf course. Haven't touched my toes in years, could instantly touch the ground. Just stand with your arms extended and then do a squat. Then come up and bend over, reach into your toes. Rinse, repeat 3 times. You'll be touching the ground. Try it. I'll try that during the commercial break. I don't believe it. Because I've done the breathe out, everything. Like I'm about as flexible as a crowbar, though. So I will make that abundantly clear. Hey, Gregor, don't you just kind of watch other people and catch on? Well, maybe a little bit, but not always, especially when you get into like those flow classes where you're going from one to the other to the next. Like what? Because I don't love to just sit in a pose and hold it for 45 seconds every time. So it's all I'm saying is they could make it a little bit more inviting to the rookies. Gregor, hand in your man card if you go to yoga. Dude. There's nothing wrong with being strong and being mobile. Hey, guys, I find the yoga pose called getting in and out of my SUV challenging. You know, it's funny you say that. I saw a guy getting out of his car the other day, and dude, I've maybe had a tight back, but he was trying to get out of his vehicle, and it was a low car, so I think he might have just got it. He's an older guy, and he was like almost reefing on the top of his door, trying to pull himself up. Oh, that's pure comedy. Pure comedy. Because you like the comfort of the car, but getting in and out of the car can be a challenge, right? I know a lot of people, that's why they like the SUV. I'm going up, I ain't going down. It's a little bit easier. That's what she said. Anyway, hey, Gregor, you're bang on. Yoga is no joke. What about Pilates? I've honestly never done Pilates. Cons? Declan, have you ever done Pilates? Well, Dec's like big boxer guy. He must have done Pilates at some point. I can't see him. Is he shaking his head or is he nodding?
Yeah, it's a big shaking the head.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that old boxing boy would have done Pilates. So, but really, what's the difference between Pilates and yoga? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's some resistance in Pilates. Don't they use those machines? My mom goes. I could ask her if you'd like.
Good question.
I think Declan was training like Rocky style, running up mountains in Russia and drinking eggs and stuff.
Yeah. Where, like, I could see Declan's the type of guy who wears a headband when he works out.
Yeah, and a hat, he says.
Yeah, and a hat.
Prevents the sweat on the treadmill.
Headband for sure when he works out, 100%. Right? And I could see him. He's got a headband, tucked right over his ears. The hair comes out over top of it. Yeah, loving it. We do have a few other. Hey guys, what about when the Knicks owner threw Charles Oakley out of the game from Cat Dad? Yeah, that was pretty weak, eh? The Knicks and Dolan, they had quite the bay. Hey guys, Tampa Bay and the Panthers wouldn't allow opposing team jerseys in the playoffs from Shorty. Now, not because I saw Oiler jerseys in Game 7. Are you saying in previous years they didn't do that? Like, I know that for a while there they had a sign that you couldn't buy a ticket if you were outside of their area code, right? And they're trying to promote because they wanted, and they did that against their rivals. And to some extent, I understand it. I would say, you know what? We're going to allow our fans to get the tickets up until a week before the game. And then we'll open it up to any postal code. But for the week, up until the week before, we want to get it. That's what's home field advantage. I could be supportive of that. But, a week up to the game, if you haven't bought your tickets, well, hey, we got to sell them. Right? I think it would put emphasis on it. And I think the hometown fans would be like, okay, I can accept that if I want to go. Because it's not like it's a shock when they're coming, right? And even, I guess, if you get to a playoff series, right? Let's say all of a sudden Tampa's playing or Calgary's playing Edmonton. If the Oilers find out they're playing Calgary, right? You got however many days for the first game. For the first 48 hours, you got to have your IP address got to be in Edmonton. Pretty simple. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be a Flame fan. There's obviously going to be some Flame fans who live in Edmonton and vice versa. But it would be a way to give you a better chance to have a hometown crowd. So I could understand. I wouldn't ban them completely. I would just give you more of an opportunity to fans of the team. And that doesn't stop them from obviously wanting to sell it later on. I get it. You can always find ways to get in for sure. But it would lessen it. So I actually wouldn't be opposed to that. But not allowing jerseys, I'm like, what are you talking about here? Like, boo-hoo. When we return, we'll go to Montreal where something tells me it'll be a very Canadian strong crowd tonight. Canada, Sweden. Game 1 of the Four Nations 2025. There's only 7 games, 1 tonight, 1 tomorrow, 2 Saturday, 2 Monday, and then the final goes next Thursday. We'll discuss Canada's roster, lineups. We see the first unit power play, which is McDavid, McKinnon, Makar, Crosby, and Reinhardt. Not bad. Not a bad power play if you're Team Canada. Look at that and more when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
It may sound cliche, but it's true. Building something new starts with a solid foundation. At GS Construction, we're growing Edmonton subdivisions with deep utility services and infrastructure that lasts. Every new project begins with skilled people like you, building communities from the ground up. GS Construction is hiring. So if you're a foreman or a pipe layer that's looking to put your skills to work for Edmonton and area in 2025, we'd love to hear from you. Visit gsconstruction.ca and join a team that digs deep and builds stronger. Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Shop like an insider with the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Save up to 25% off sofas, love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals. When you buy more, you save more. Up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Plus, save up to 20% off bedroom and dining furniture. Save up to $600 off big screen TVs and up to 25% off TV stands, fireplaces, and wall units. Sleep better with mattresses up to 40% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Is it Riverside Motorsports? No. It's Riverside Motorsports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong. Guess it's time to get it right.
Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
What is with the weather lately? Is it winter? Is it an early spring? It's like Mother Nature's a hockey referee that can't quite figure out what an offside or a penalty is. Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to make the right call for your vehicle. Whether it's antifreeze, washer fluid, wiper blades, or that mysterious part you swear you just replaced, Napa has you covered. Because your vehicle deserves consistency. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or napacanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
He's done it all. Grammy Awards, Billboard hits, over 10 million albums sold. Live in 2025, River Cree Resort and Casino proudly presents the one and only T.I. March 8th in the venue. T.I. Live. Tickets on sale now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensors, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
326. Some other news for the Elks today. They've released defensive lineman Jamin Pelly, who struggled to stay healthy, and I think at times struggled to be in the best possible condition that he could be in. So moves continue on the D line and really on the entire organization for the green and gold. So there you have it. Also, we're going to look into this story even more, but there is an awful story going on right now involving a minor soccer team in Edmonton for kids who are U11. And for 2 years, they've spent raising money so they could go to this Mayor's Cup in Las Vegas. And, they did bottle drives, selling chocolates, hosting all sorts of events for 2 years because, it's a lot of money to raise. And the trusted head coach stole close to $50,000 from the team's account here in Edmonton. So, my goodness. Charges are expected to be laid in the coming weeks. Full investigation is underway right now by the police. So that's brutal. So we'll look at that. But they actually do have a GoFundMe page if you want to help out. If you want it, Connor, we'll send it to you. But that you want to talk about disappointing. You have a bunch of kids that you're teaching them to do the right thing. Hey, you know what? If you want to go to something big, well, it's going to be a commitment. You're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to do a lot of work. And you grow as a person, you learn how to fundraise and everything. It's fantastic. A lot of life lessons involved in there. And then the coach steals the money. Like I can't even imagine how heated you would be as a parent, right? You watch your kid do all this work and all their kids, not just your child, but all the kids on the team. And the person that you put your trust in then goes and stealing from, what are you doing? So, man, that's a pretty brutal story, man. Pretty brutal story. So, awful. So, hopefully that team and their families and the kids, hopefully find a way to recoup that because that is not good at all. Let's get to the oil report now, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. 13-time Excellence Award winner in sales and service because they have great vehicles from the Volvo XC90. You want the S60. You got cars. You want SUVs. They got it all. They're great. The wagon, the V model's unbelievable. But it's really the service that keeps people coming back to VolvoCarsEdmonton.com as Tyler Yaremchuk in Montreal joins us as Canada gets set to take on Sweden. Ty, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Greg's. I'm down in right in the old Montreal areas where we're staying. So I got the old rustic brick rock wall behind me, and the vibes are good. The city's kind of electric today. It feels like an important little game day.
Oh, man. I'm kind of surprised by some people who even try to make, wow, this will be an all-star game. I'm like, what? Yeah, there's all-stars in the game, but trust me, this is far from a Sunday stroll, which the all-star game should be, by the way. This game means something. You're playing for your country. You got guys who have never played for the country as men before, NHLers, just because we haven't seen this since 2016. And some of them, like McDavid, technically didn't play for his country, played for his continent back then. So I think there'll be a lot of hype. I think this is going to be I hope it's intense. And man, this is the first one. I think both Sweden and Canada, it should be good. God, I hope so. And I talked to Mike Rupp. I think if hockey wants to grow, this tournament needs goals.
Yeah, 1,000%. And just quickly, because I know it's on the top of my mind, Devin Taves tonight is going to play his first game ever at any level for Team Canada. He has never had the maple leaf on his chest. I think that's a really, really cool story. And listen, getting a chance to talk to some of the players over the last couple of days and seeing the look on their faces as they talk about this tournament, it means something to them. Even if you're one of those pessimistic people that's like, the NHL made this up, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's no real stakes on the line. For these guys, it matters. They want to show out for their country, and they want to prove that their group and their country is the best in the world. So, yeah, does it suck there's no Russia here? Does it suck that it's not an 8-team tournament? I guess, but that doesn't mean these guys who, again, sacrificed their break to come here, that doesn't mean they're not fired up and they're not going to be going all out.
Yeah, it would. I think it's going to be intense for sure. Like you just when these players decide to play, there's just too much skill not to be right. Like there should be a lot of big plays on both sides. You've had a chance to see the lineup. You talked to John Cooper. Now it's a very short tournament, right? So you don't have the luxury of saying, well, let's see if these guys get chemistry. Like you might play the round robin games or something. There's really, there is technically round robin games, but you lose tonight, then you're in a must-win game situation for game 2. So there's not a lot of time to kind of, feel your way in. How quickly do you think he'll change if he doesn't see anything he likes?
Well, and that's what's interesting, right? You've only had the 2 practice games or 2 practice days here, and there's no pre-tournament game. So do you sit there and trust your instincts? Like, let's say McDavid, Marner, and Reinhart just aren't looking right through the first 30 minutes of tonight. Do you start going, okay, we got to get Connor McDavid going, and you start cycling through some other options there? Or do you go, you know what? It's their first game together. Let's see if they can figure it out. It'll be interesting to see how John Cooper goes about that. I get the vibe from listening to him talk that he's going to be a little bit more patient. But again, we'll see. Like if Connor McDavid's line isn't producing, and let's say you're down 2-1 halfway through the second period, I think it's in every coach's nature to be like, how can I get things going a little bit? And that might be switching up the lines in some way. So it being such a short tournament makes every decision that much bigger, including the one between the pipes. I was a little bit surprised they went with Jordan Binnington.
Oh, a little bit. I'm totally with you, man. Like I thought Aiden Hill for sure would be the guy they go to, but I think the GM and I know, I guess the coach has some say in this, but the goalie coach is St. Louis's goalie coach too. So it's, I'm sure if they ask the goalie coach who's going to play, like, not rocket science for me to think. And hey, here's the thing. It didn't matter who played goal in 2014 at the Olympics. Like you could have put any goalie in Canada and they would have won that tournament because they just played so well. So now this tournament might be different, but at Binnington, if Binnington has to be standing on his head, then Canada's got bigger issues. I think Binnington's just going to have to be solid for the most part.
Yeah, I think so. Like, again, this Canada team, I don't think they're going to play the same suffocating defensive style, like you said, that they did in 2014 when they played 6 games and didn't give up more than 1 goal in any of them. Like, the numbers from then were absolutely insane. But I do think this Canada team is going to prevent chances in a different way, and that's by just cycling the puck to death and almost suffocating the other team on the other end of the ice. I think this offensive attack is going to be so good. This group of forwards that Canada has is the best in the tournament, in my view. And I think they'll win this game, or if they find success, it'll be because they're spending most of the night down in the offensive zone. I think there'll be a little bit of the old cliche of the best defense is a good offense. Like, yeah, if you have the puck and the other team's exhausted from chasing you around for a minute to 90 seconds every single shift because you just have them hemmed in, it's going to be tough for them to create going back the other way. So Binnington, I think the key for him, as simple as it sounds, don't let in the easy ones. Make the first save because that team in front of you is so good. You shouldn't have to see a lot of rebounds and second attempts.
Now, are they playing 3-on-3 or 5-on-5 overtime?
I believe for the round robin, it is 3-on-3. And then the other change,
minutes, right?
Yeah, it's 10 minutes. And the other change is that a round robin win, a regulation win is worth 3 points, an overtime win is worth 2, OT loss 1, and then a 0. So what could be interesting is if we get to that Monday when there's a doubleheader, we might get the rare situation where in a tie game, some teams pulling their goalie, being like, the only way for us to advance is to win this game in the next 2 minutes.
And the other thing I've noticed is if there's a 3-way tie, then, the goal scored. So there's a benefit to running up the score a little bit here. And, that's important. I think it's that way in a lot of tournaments beforehand. So, teams, there should be no sitting back in here because if you're up by 3, you want to get up by 4.
Yeah, which again, early in the tournament, if your plus minus is going to matter, how aggressive do you get with a goalie pull if you're down by 1 tonight and you say your team Sweden? Do you go, okay, do we push this thing to get it to overtime to maybe get the 2 points or guarantee the 1, but then it's going to hurt our plus minus? Like, you're obviously still going to pull the goalie, but I think it'll change up the strategy a little bit on when teams go to that because you won't want to lose by 2.
And Ty, if I'm not mistaken, like yesterday on my show, I mentioned that they're going to have their next World Cup. It's going to be in 2028. It's just going to be a matter of when they're going to have it, right? Are they going to have it before the season? Or are they going to have it during the season? But they are going to have this. Like, this is going to become their plan here in the NHL is to have Olympics and kind of go like the soccer, right? Where you have World Cup every 2 years, then you have the Olympics. And that's kind of how it goes. And that's what we're going to see here from hockey moving forward, right? Like you got the Olympics in 26. You're around there. Like that's the expectation. And I think they might even have an official announcement before this tournament starts. Is that right?
Yeah, Gary Bettman's going to be speaking to the media here in about 40 minutes. So as soon as I'm done with you, I'm in an Uber down to the Bell Center, and Bettman and Marty Walsh from the NHLPA are expected to officially announce the 2028 World Cup. And it sounds like there will be games happening in Europe with that tournament as well.
Interesting. So they'll have like you can't have a Europe pool and a North American pool unless it's a best of 3.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Or, I mean, I know you've suggested this too, but put this thing back at the start of the year. Don't put this in the All-Star game. And I think it gets a lot easier to do maybe a European start, and then you take 3 days off and the medal round finishes off in Toronto or wherever.
Yeah, like honestly, like now, maybe it's because that's what I grew up on, but I saw all the Canada Cups, World Cups, they used to be in September. Before the season began, you got healthy guys. People are coming off now. Obviously, Stanley Cup winning teams, it's an even shorter summer for them. So sure, I get it, and I guess there has to be some communication with the PA. But I'd like to know, and when we get Marty on, and we're actually planning on having on the Business of Sports here coming up in March, I'd be curious what the PA's viewpoint of the benefit of having it. Maybe it's just because we do it for the Olympics, so let's just all do it at the same time all the time.
Yeah, and I guess that would make sense. And maybe even from the PA side, it's like, hey, if these guys are going to go play in a World Cup, we're not having them play in an All-Star game too, and adding in a whole nother event on top of that. But again, beginning of the season just makes so much more sense. You should have all these guys healthy after, a close to full off season for pretty much all of them. So I agree. Do it in September. It's the best time. And then you won't have situations like an Alex Pietrangelo. And then also if a guy were to, knock on wood, get hurt and it happens in September, at least it's not like, oh my God, they're out for the stretch drive. It's like, okay, we're going to get them back by Christmas kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, looking at, we know that Ekholm's playing with Karlsson. Where is Arvidsson fitting in Sweden?
Arvidsson is going to start on the 4th line. He's playing with, and I'm blanking a little bit about, hey, our friends at Daily Faceoff have the lines up, Elias Lindholm and Gustav Nyquist. So Arvidsson will be on the 4th line. Interested to see how much ice time Mattias Ekholm gets with Connor McDavid on the ice on the other side. I talked to him about that a couple of days ago, and he seemed pretty dialed in. He was like, hey, we're going to be friends after this. Hopefully we can have a laugh about whatever goes down. But he said, I want to win. I know he wants to win. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure Sweden comes out on top in this thing. So it'll be interesting to see. Like Jeff Merrick asked me today, he was like, hey, in this tournament, let's say Matt Tkachuk has Alexander Barkov lined up right in the middle of the ice. Does he finish the check? Does he absolutely hammer his captain? I think the more intriguing question is like, if Mattias Ekholm's out there against Connor McDavid and McDavid's protecting the puck on the boards, how hard is that cross-check from Mattias Ekholm on number 97? We'll find out an answer to that question tonight.
Well, you know what? I think the players on both sides of that would say, hey, I'm going to play as hard as I can. I would expect the other guy to play as hard as he could because, we both want to win. It is interesting because you got Gustav Forsling, you've got Hedman, you've got Rasmus Dahlin. Like, they got a lot of defensive guys, right? So I wonder if they keep, because of Karlsson, where Ekholm plays more, up against the 3rd and 4th line because they're going to try to put those guys out there, to get some offense from Karlsson. We'll see. But maybe if they go their top lines, like they'll say, hey, you're going to play Barkov because we think Barkov and Rantanen and Barkov are finished. Sorry, I meant Nylander and Forsberg, for instance, and say, hey, we're going to put you out with our offensive guys because we got Erik Karlsson. The one thing Erik Karlsson still does is he drives offense. Yes, he can give up defense, but he drives a ton of offense.
Yeah, you would imagine for Mattias Ekholm as well. He plays with Evan Bouchard, getting a chance to play with another high-end puck mover like Erik Karlsson should be a pretty natural transition there as well. The other thing, too, for this Canada team, and it's been a big storyline, it's the number one thing I'm excited for. I can't wait for that first power play. I'm sure the Swedish head coach will have shivers going down his spine when the official's arm gets raised for the first time tonight. But like McDavid, Reinhart, McKinnon, Makar, and Sidney Crosby as well to round out the unit. The 5 of them have been staying late for pretty much every single practice to keep working on things. Nate McKinnon said Sidney Crosby's been talking to those guys off the ice about how he wants the power play to look. Like, they are so committed to being impactful with the man advantage. I'm fascinated to see how that plays out.
Well, I'm fascinated to see like how many power plays we're going to see in a game. Right? Like you've got a lot of speed on both sides, and you've got supposedly, the best officials in the game in this tournament. Right? Are they going to quote, let him play, or just call the rule book? I'm always intrigued by that. I hope it's the latter, but we'll see.
Yeah, me too. Because again, I think for this tournament to be a success, you want offense, you want really electric, high scoring games. Like, again, I get hockey nerd. You might like a good defensive 3-1 win, but you're trying to appeal to the masses here. If this tournament tonight could start off with like a 6-5 Canada win and the Bell Center's rocking by the third period, and you got a big goal and a big celebration from a star player, that will do a ton to drive excitement for the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, like tonight can't be a dud. It can't be like a 2-1 defensive game. And honestly, I don't expect it to be. I really don't. I think there's going to be some goals tonight. It's you know what? Like these teams have had 2 practices, right? Like you don't have a lot of continuity here on either side. So, are you going to have some misreads? Maybe they're all the best players, but still, you know what? You've probably got even less time to make decisions than you normally would. So, I do think this is going to be playoff intensity. Like I'm quite excited for it. Like, I think there's a lot of our younger listeners who have never really seen this.
Yeah, it's a great point. Again, like 9 full years since we've gotten anything close to best on best since that 2016 World Cup. So it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. And you're right, like a hockey fan who would have been 9 years old in that World Cup and doesn't really have memories of it. You're 18 now. Like you've been starved. Your formative hockey fan years has been without best on best hockey. It's crazy to think.
And looking at it, Sweden is Sweden technically the home team tonight?
Yeah, Sweden is going to technically be the home team because then Canada will be the home team on Saturday for the game against the USA.
Yeah, well, it's funny. USA is 2 of their road team against Finland and the road team against Canada. And then I wonder how they decide that. I'd just be curious because obviously everybody plays 3 games. 2 teams have to be the road team twice out of their 3 games. It's just kind of how it works. So kind of interesting, but so I don't know if that will come into play or not. I guess on last change, we'll see. Comes down to it doesn't matter anymore if the rule changes as far as offensive and defensive zone anymore, right? They've changed that rule, so it's a small little tweak for line matchups. If they do it, I don't know if we're going to see hard matching or not tonight, but. Anything else, having seen all the practices and anything else, Ty, that has jumped to your attention here the last few days?
I think each team early on in this tournament is going to want a real energy maker. For the USA, I think you're looking at the Tkachuk brothers to, like, if you're sitting on the bench and you watch Brady or Matthew Tkachuk go and bang, lay a big hit, you're instantly like sitting up being like, okay, we're doing this. And I think for Team Canada tonight, that'll be a big thing. Who can go out there and set the tone with some energy early on? And I think Brad Marchand and Travis Konechny are going to have awesome tournaments. I don't know if Konechny's going to fully play tonight. I wasn't at the skate. I was doing DFO live. But Brad Marchand in that first practice, he went, and again, Canada, very militaristic. The drills were like precise. Everyone was serious. Then on this one drill, Brad Marchand scored and jumped into the glass and celebrated, hugged his teammates. Then he looked across the ice at where I think it was McKinnon and Crosby were, and he was going, first line. And again, everyone was kind of laughing, and Canada had a lighter feel. I'm looking for Brad Marchand to be a guy who kind of sets the tone tonight.
Well, there's a guy who understands, like, guys, like, we can't be, because some of those guys are super serious all the time, and that's okay, but you don't need to be wound tight on a Monday.
Yeah, again, first shift, if I'm John Cooper, Brad Marchand's in my starting lineup tonight. I know for the vibe and the appeal, they'll probably go with like Crosby and McKinnon or whatever, but I would have Brad Marchand first over the boards, and I'd say you have one job, and it is to smoke someone in the first 60 seconds.
How do you see the minutes being allocated here? Like, when we, at the end of the game tonight, are we going to see a lot of guys even at 20 minutes?
I mean, probably dependent on how the game's going. Again, a loss tonight to Sweden means your back's against the wall on Saturday against the USA, and your tournament could very well be over by the time you even get to Monday. So if it's a close game, I think we'll see McDavid and Crosby, or the Crosby-McKinnon line. I bet you we see them almost double shifted in that third period. But if there's a bit of a gap here and Canada has a lead, I think you're correct. I don't think we'll see a forward play more than 20 minutes unless it's a 1-goal game and Canada's got to push.
It's going to be great stuff, man. Enjoy at the Bell Center. The atmosphere will be electric for sure. Enjoy Gary. I'm sure he'll tell you the straight up truth on all your questions.
Yeah, I'll ask him some hard hitters. Thanks, Gregs.
Thanks. There you go. Tyler Yaremchuk from Daily Faceoff and Oilers Nation. He is in Montreal for the Four Nations Faceoff, which begins tonight. And you know what? I think this text, many of you probably agree. Hey, guys, I'll be honest. I was one of the people who was poo-poo on this tournament earlier, but I'm actually quite excited about it now from JCD. And you know what? And that's okay. I think at times it's okay to change your opinion on something. Hey, I used to not like this player. Now I think he's okay. I used to really like this guy. Don't like him as much. It's all right. That's how an analysis is supposed to be, evolving and changing all the time. You don't have to say, well, I was this way, I have to stick with it come hell or high water. It's not politics. We can change our viewpoint on things in the sporting landscape. Quick break. We got lots of texts to get to, 833-401-1440. We'll also hear from McDavid, as well as Ed Hervey and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
Hey, did you know you can get a free drink today?
Nice. I love free drinks.
Yeah, Booster Juice called your name today on the Booster Rewards app. So you get a free smoothie, booster mixer, or fresh juice.
Well then, why are we still sitting here just talking about it?
Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. 2 names every day, all February long. Must be a Booster Rewards app member. For complete details, visit boosterjuice.com.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Get fired up for Family Day weekend Oil Kings hockey at Rogers Place.
Saturday night, Edmonton looks to make rubble on the double of the Humdinger Lethbridge Hurricanes because it's Paw Patrol night.
Your Oil Kings suit up in specialty jerseys right out of Adventure Bay. Each one will be raffled off in support of the Stollery Children's Hospital Foundation after the game.
And Calmont Kids Food combos are on the case, just $10 or less. Value bigger than the Paw Patroller.
Oil Kings Paw Patrol night, Saturday at 7.
Family fun that's second to none, starting at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Come on in. Nissan is proudly celebrating 60 years in Canada. Our best-selling Rogue is built for everyday adventure and features standard all-wheel drive and dual-zone automatic climate control. Lease the 2025 Rogue for 30 months or finance for 24 months at 0.99%. Plus, get $1,000 anniversary bonus cash. Offer available on S all-wheel drive model. Conditions apply. See Nissan.ca for details.
Visit your local Edmonton and area Nissan dealer for more information.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. This week at Papa John's, enjoy a medium 2-topping pizza and choice of dessert for only $25.99. Use code LOVEDAY at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$3:49. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having a lovely Wednesday. Many of you getting fired up for the Four Nations. Greg's, I have to admit, I wasn't in this tournament until you got all fired up this week. You keep reminding me of how good it's going to be. I hope you're right. From Dan. Well, I think it's going to be great, man. Just the intensity, like, trust me, this game will be fast. There's lots of skill on all these teams. Is it going to be like everybody running around? Well, maybe not, but it's going to be more physical than the vast majority of NHL regular season games. I'll tell you that for sure. Obviously, it'll be more skilled. And you know what? You just, when the patriotism kicks in for people, like that's like tonight's the appetizer for Canada fans. You got Sweden. It's really hard. Like nobody dislikes Sweden, right? They're all nice. Like think about it. Has there ever been a Swede on the Oilers that Oilers fans like, oh, can't stand that guy? Clefbaum, Larson, Ekholm's adored. Heck, Linus Omark had one spin-around move, and he's beloved for years. Anton Lander, he could have been great, right? Even Arvidsson, no one talked about Arvidsson really having a poor season until he wrote about it on Monday. Like, Swedes are some of the most likable guys. So I get it. So there's not a lot of animosity. Like, do they have anybody on Sweden who's going to, stir the pot? Not really. That's not their style. But you get to the U.S. on Saturday. You kidding me? You got Kachuk. You got Miller. You just kind of got that American arrogance. Friends of the show, but clowns who are not friends right now with Shinsky and others. Oh, screw them. I hope Canada pumps them. I can't wait for that game. Are you a little nervous because you don't want to lose to the U.S.? Damn straight. But that's what makes it more exciting. And I can't wait for the games. It's going to be awesome. And this is going to be one like I'll be watching intently on these games. No, I don't be on social media a lot. I'm just going to be watching, enjoying the games old school. Should be loads of fun. I think it's starting in Montreal is great because the atmosphere there, fans are awesome. There's a little bit of more of a European flair, I find. Anytime I've been in Montreal for games, watch them. They definitely know how to put on a show. So that the intros tonight will be next level, Connor Halley. They will be fired up and they'll be ready to roll.
Yeah, it's going to be a great spot for it. And just talking about like tonight, it's Wednesday, it's Sweden. It's going to be good. But Saturday night, that's one I think where you get together. Like you get the friends together, you have some drinks, you have some food, and you lock in and watch that game. It's going to be amazing. And I'm with you. The closer we get to this tournament, when it was announced, I thought, whatever. As we get closer, I'm like, this is going to be a whole lot of fun. And I just can't wait. As I'm scrolling through social media, I've got a picture here of the guys at practice, McKinnon, McDavid, and Sidney Crosby. And I'm immediately jacked up like, okay, cannot wait to see those guys out on the ice together.
Jason, I can't convince myself to get behind the version in Canada. I mean, the other than the obvious ones, it was very unlikable. Stone, Doug Armstrong, Binnington, thank God no Pietrangelo. Olympics would be different, but that won't be a choice on who to support. But this team is a bit unlikable. Sam from Vancouver. Well, is Sidney Crosby unlikable? Is Sam Reinhart unlikable? Is Nathan McKinnon unlikable? Connor McDavid? Cale Makar? Devon Taves, Josh Morrissey, Colton Parayko. Go down the list. Like you only mention Mark Stone and Binnington as two actual players. Like who cares about the GM? Like let's be honest, Doug Armstrong. And why is Doug Armstrong hated in Edmonton? Honestly, like what's he ever done? Like the Blues and the Oilers have never even been in the playoffs. Again, Doug Armstrong's
offer sheets, I guess.
I guess so. Maybe that's just business.
Savvy management.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll see. They're a non-playoff team. Does it really help them? Right? Who knows? But I don't know. Hey, Gregor, imagine being a Canucks fan right now. Do they have any? Yeah, they don't have any players on. Like they've got Quinn Hughes. Well, Quinn Hughes, formerly Miller, right? Pettersson's on Team Sweden. Yeah, that would be. Like, I always wondered if you don't have anybody on the team you cheer for and they're all in the other countries, is that difficult for you? Like, I'm trying to think, 1996, Team USA had Doug Waite. Was Cujo on that? I think Cujo was on the World Cup team but was he on the orders yet in 96? Oh, geez, I don't think so. So, yeah, I don't think Canada would have had anybody. Was Ryan Smith on that team? He scored 39 goals. I don't know if he would have been on that team. I got to refresh my memory. I know he was there obviously in 2002. I don't think he was there in 96. So I guess Oilers fans maybe technically in 96 had that. I'm trying to think if there was an Oilers on that 96 team. I don't think so. They were brutal, so probably not. But yeah, it would be tough and I'm sure Oilers fans are, hey, Gregor, I love Canada. I love everything, but I'm not welcoming a Canucks fan to cheer with me on this team. We'll see. Hey, just be true to who you dislike. I get it.
Cujo was on the team.
He was.
He was the lone one.
But was he on the orders?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because he came in 95. That's right. Okay, so they did have someone. There you go. So you haven't been in that position. Good for you, Oilers fans. Good for you. It's a lucky spot to be in. Now, do we got Connor McDavid talking about it? Comment we do. Let's get to the Oilers captain. And McDavid just about finally has been waiting a decade. And he gets to pull on that Canadian sweater as an NHL player.
Obviously this isn't the Olympics or anything like that, but this is all about national pride and having a great tournament is something that our group is after, obviously.
And make no mistake, you want to win. I know everyone says, oh, it's not the Olympics. But when you come to hockey, like think about the Olympics. Russia isn't going to be there. So other than being on the Olympic stage and maybe you're in the Olympic house and everything, when you come to just actual skill of hockey, is Czechia really going to be make the tournament that much harder to win? Slovakia, Germany, Austria, Denmark? I don't know. I think from a pure just hockey playing, we can go about the emotion of the Olympics, sure. But just when it comes to pure hockey, because once the pucks drop, guys aren't going on the forecheck. Well, this isn't the Olympics. It's not what they're thinking. So, while I get the bigger Olympic feel, from an actual competitive nature for hockey, I'm not sure it's going to be that much different.
Don't ask the Swedes about Belarus, though.
Oh, there you go. You never know. That's right. And just on the emotions tonight, you get to hear that anthem. Is it going to be a little bit different for him?
Yeah, it feels similar, obviously. Waited a long time to play in one of these events, to represent my country, play for Team Canada, but lots of guys are in that boat, It's been a while for everybody, feels like a kind of a new generation, with obviously some familiar faces for everybody, but when you think about Austin or Jack or, Willie Nylander for Sweden, these guys haven't had the opportunity. So as I said, everybody's in the same boat here. This is new for 99% of the guys here, and we're excited about it.
I should mention, though, Rick Tocchet is on Canada's staff as a coach, right, with DeBoer and Bruce Cassidy. So I guess Canuck fans can hold on to that. Why not? Rick's a pretty likable guy, so they do get that reprieve. That's their saving grace. They do have their head coach on the bench. When we return, we'll get to the business of sport. And, obviously this is a big business of sport for the NHL, the NHLPA, the upcoming Four Nations. We'll talk about that. Contracts. We got a few questions from you in the past. If you have any other questions for Ritch Winter, we'll get to those. I've saved a few of them. We'll get to all that and more today in the business of sport coming up next. But first, let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Get where you need to go this winter with the midwinter tire clearance on. 20% off all in-stock tires, premium brands, unbeatable safety, incredible savings. FountainTire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
It's finally here, the face-off with the Four Nations. Sweden and Canada, 6 o'clock, Montreal. In the association, we got 15 games on the schedule, including the Raptors taking on the Cavaliers. Tip-off 5:30. Also, Bucks in Minnesota, Pelicans taking on the Kings. Heat and Thunder, Suns, Rockets, Nuggets host the Blazers. Lakers in Utah, Mavs host the Warriors. And the Grizz taking on the LA Clippers. The Edmonton Elks have released a national offensive lineman, Jamin Pelly. Pelly has spent the last 3 years as a member of the Green and Gold, a Calgary product, played in 29 games, recording 25 tackles across his 3 seasons. In the WHL, the Oil Kings will host the Pats down at Rogers Place tonight. It's Wednesday. $2 hot dogs all game log. Puck drop set for 7. In the AJ, Fort Max and Camrose, and Old will host Lloyd. That one gets going at 7. And in the PWHL, Boston set to take on New York. Puck drop in just over an hour. Major League Baseball news: Pete Alonso back with the Mets. 2-year deal worth $54 million. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, it's another edition of the Business of Sport with longtime NHL player agent Ritch Winter. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Every nickel that you don't pay in interest is a nickel back in your pocket. So make a 0% interest deal with your friends at St. Albert Dodge. Right now, you can drive away in Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the 2025 Ram 1500, with 0% financing. There's a great selection, over 100 on the lot. Or if you'd like to get some cash back to pay off your credit cards and start the year fresh, they can help you with that too. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
Mr. Rooter travels the world.
Buongiorno, Italy. Nothing beats immersing oneself in another culture. Ooh, look at that. What an intricate design. Huh, wow. What a weird way to turn on the shower. OMG, a dedicated porcelain bidet. Do I try it? Well, when in Rome. Oh my, this beats that robot toilet in Japan.
All plumbing roads lead to Mr. Rooter.
Hair Aware with Dr. Vance Elliott.
Hey, Dr. Vance, does a hair transplant have to look like a hair transplant? There's a guy at work, his is totally obvious.
My goal is to give every one of my patients a full natural-looking head of hair, so I stay up to date on the latest innovations. This is science, and more importantly, an art. I do things differently and move more hair than is normally done, resulting in a thicker look that is also more natural.
Trust a world-renowned expert in hair restoration. Book an appointment at drvanceelliott.com today.
From the casinos of Vegas to the bingo halls of Leduc, everybody wants a piece of Lady Luck. And what thanks do I get? It's like I don't even exist.
There's no such thing as luck. If you gamble, use your game sense. Visit GameSenseAB.ca.
Just because it'll cut me? Off. Yeah. To your right. Yeah.
Do I look terrific or no? Where's hair and makeup?
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team in Old Strathcona has special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. How are you, Jason Gregor? Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. As always, Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. You can get in the game, use the promo code Gregor50 and get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. And it's Wednesday, it's 4 o'clock, and that means the business of sports with the longtime certified NHL agent, Ritch Winter. And we've gotten into lots of different topics, Rich, in the business of sport. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. It's been actually, I love the weather. It's cool and not sloppy, and I'm enjoying it. Just had a lot of fun, a lot of good things going on at work, and nice to have a break for 10 days with nobody's calling me from the beach.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I would hope not. Now, have you ever been? I know you go to Hawaii lots. You go to the Big Island. You go to Maui. Have you ever been to the Big Island?
We like Oahu. We just love the action. Great restaurants. So and I did a lot of diving with sharks and stuff on the North Shore. So that's kind of fun. And do
you go deep diving?
No.
Okay.
It gets dark.
Just snorkeling.
It gets a little bit of snorkeling, a little bit of diving, but it gets dark. I panic. So I don't want to be in that cave if I can avoid it. So
well, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe 15 or 20 feet's my max.
That's kind of me too.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, the first time I went swimming with the sharks, no cage or anything, it feels like, I think the first time I did it was insane jumping in the water. Just getting off the boat and in. But once you got in, man, I got to tell you, there is nothing more.
Was it tiger sharks? What kind of sharks was it?
Well, we did actually have a couple of tiger sharks and join us on the first gig because the first day was quite choppy. So then we weren't able to anchor, right? So they, the boat drifted and the girl tells you got to do a little, if I do this, you get up. And there was one point where she was aggressively doing this and we got wind of a couple of tiger sharks, but that was kind of interesting. But what I found interesting is they know that they're going to come, because what happens is the boats historically have dumped all their garbage, when they clean the fish up.
Yeah.
So when they hear a boat motor, they come that way because they're lazy. They're not interested in me. They're interested in a little bit of refuse that someone's throwing in the water. They're lazy, man.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, you know what? Maybe, or they're just smart, right?
Or they're smart. Yeah. It's sort of like going over to whatever restaurant you like. Let them do the work.
Now, you mentioned, hey, no one's talking to you. Agents, realistically, there's no reason for an agent to go to the Four Nations Cup, correct?
Not that I can see, because my experience has been, it's a struggle for the players. Like, they're getting together with guys they've wanted to play with. They probably know a little bit. Maybe they don't know them at all, and they just want to get together with them, have a coffee, go to the team room, get to know them, go out for a bite. Last thing they want to do, really. Like, I know agents like to go, maybe it's their own ego, or, there's opportunities maybe to meet a few guys. Like, who don't I know? It doesn't really matter. I'd rather watch it on TV, but the players just don't want to think there's one more thing on their plate. Yeah, Ritch is texting me. No. He wants to get together. Geez. So I actually, the head of the union texted me and wondered if I was there. And I said to Marty, no, I don't bother players during a tournament. Are you going?
Now, from an NHLPA perspective, because I know they're going to have a press conference here in about 50 minutes. They're going to announce that it's going to be again in 2028. No surprise. I think this is going to be on the calendar every, starting, it'll be now, then it'll be 28, then it'll be 32, kind of 2 years after the Olympics. And, it seems like it's going to be every February because that's when the Olympics are.
Yeah.
I know Canada Cups always used to be in September. So that's what I was used to. I always liked it. I found it was a little bit better. Didn't disrupt things as much. But when you talk to players, what is it about the February that the union likes? Why would they want it in February?
The union is responsible to taking care of the interests of the members. There's a group of members that love this kind of competition, and they're there. There's another group of members that love the Turks and Caicos, and that's where they are. So it really works well for them.
Okay.
It's delivering what they want. And I got to tell you, look, they're breaking, and the coverage that they're going to get for these individual games will probably be as good as they're going to get in America for the other games.
Yes.
So that's okay. I talked to the Players Association today, and I said, I get why you're doing it. And Piper Henderson there was telling me that, it's really what the members want. So that's what they get. Marty came in and delivered something. Will it be transformative? Will it help sell the game? I don't know. Someone will have to measure that. I don't think so, but it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And I think, it's sad that the Russians aren't there. I don't like the fact that they're not there. But it is what it is with the world, what things going on in the world. But I think it's going to be fun. And I guess, those guys, they're looking forward. They're going to get 7 days off to rest and recover their bodies. You're a fan of a team that's got some, little bits of nicks and tears and things. It's good. It gives them a real energetic boost into the stretch drive, which is, as we know, that's the challenging part of the season.
What's interesting to me about, let's say Russia wasn't at war against Ukraine right now, just a hypothetical, and let's say they were in the tournament.
I guess we give Trump a week, so next year they'll be there.
Oh yeah. So let's say, if they were in it, would it be the Five Nations? Because Czechia doesn't have they don't have even 6 NHL defensemen. Right. Slovakia doesn't have 6 NHL defensemen. This is an NHL only. You can't go and get guys from Slovakia leagues or others. So I wonder, would it have just been a Five Nations tournament if Russia was in it?
Yeah, I think likely. And you just have to figure out how that all works in the.
I wonder what, maybe we'll hear the announcement today, but if when you talk to Marty, did they talk about this 2028? Do they have a concrete plan about how many teams?
I've been talking about other things.
Okay.
I haven't talked about this. This is really, quite frankly, from my business perspective, is of no interest to me. Like one agent said to me the other day, guys like it and they're going to go beat their brains out and maybe make 20 grand, and risk life and limb. But they're happy. So, again, I enjoy the week off. I've been busy working on preparations for arbitrations and other things. It's really nice to go in the office at 5, 6 in the morning, which is my, what I do, and have no calls for 4 hours. It's just awesome.
Now, with this break, there is no trade freeze and such. So technically, I guess GMs could make deals. I could see why they wouldn't, because there's no real benefit to trade the guy. You're just going to put him on your cap for a week and he doesn't play any games. So, maybe we have a surge of trades next Friday when teams come back. I highly doubt it. But as you talk, I know you said you don't talk to your guy, but you have some players who potentially could get moved here in the next 3 weeks. Take us through those conversations And how often, like, if you have a player, let's say on Edmonton, for argument's sake,
Right.
and Edmonton was a team that wasn't in the playoffs and they were going to be trading away guys, would you be talking to Bowman weekly about, hey, my guy, you know, he wants to go somewhere? How does it work?
It depends on the situation. It's very difficult now. I have been having conversations with one team about a player who makes close to $6 million. There's just, in this cap world, man, it's really hard to move. So you check in, you talk to them once in a while. Sometimes they'll give you, if they're interested in making the deal, give you permission to talk to other teams. Sometimes you can, by knowing more about a particular player, you can maybe get some interest. I've had only one discussion this week so far. A general manager who's thinking of bringing in a forward defenseman. He's interested in one of my defensemen. So I hope that goes because that'd be a good spot for him. But there's not a lot. But even he said to me, he said, I don't know how many guys are going to be talking this week. You know, they've never had a 10-day break that he could remember in the league. So I don't know if they're shutting it down for 3 days, but I guess 3 or 4 days. My sense is most GMs other than ones involved in the tournament itself, they're taking 4 or 5 days off. You know, they're down in Florida, they're placed there. They all make way too much money, so they all have those. Us agents have to stay in Edmonton, but they're doing that, and then they're going to come back and get a little active. But they're available. I talked to 2-3 general managers yesterday, forgetting that they were probably off on vacation. All 3 were in Florida.
Yeah. In 2014 and 2010, when the NHL was in the Olympics, they had similar breaks, right? In February, you shut the league
but
down.
2010, most of those were, those guys are still playing. They weren't GMs.
Yeah,
they weren't GMs.
that's fair. Now there was talk that the next this break would involve games in Europe, right? Because that's what they want to try to grow the game, and then we'll hear from Marty. And I wonder, I saw someone bring up a suggestion. The women's game right now has women's soccer, they have that rivalry, because let's be honest, all your teams are in North America. That's where we can talk until we're blue in the face about wanting to expand over into Europe and stuff. But when the games aren't on prime time there, it's hard to get a lot of viewers. That's just a fact, right? I know they have the websites are now in Swedish and Finnish, so that helps for sure. I think that's great.
Yeah.
But I'd look, and I think you could make a strong argument that if you had a 5-game series, Canada versus US, that would be more popular in North America than this tournament would be.
Yeah, and I mean, that's an interesting point. I never thought about it, but maybe you have Sweden, Russia, Sweden, Finland over there. Well, we have this here. That's an interesting point. I don't get this trying to sell the game to the, it's like selling ice to Eskimos, right? Like, they have the game. They follow it. They are spending as much time consuming hockey as they are. Where I would be looking at is where the biggest hockey market on the planet that is completely untouched by ice hockey in any fashion. And I'd be putting a outdoor game on the front steps of the Taj Mahal, because there's 2 billion people who watch field hockey every year. Yeah. They've never been exposed to ice hockey. We get 0.1% of the people in India watching our game, and they all love it. The fastest growing audience in Canada for hockey is the Punjabi audience, because they come over, they play a game with a 2x4 on a big field where guys are stumbling around, and they come over here and they get a touch of the feel of the stick, and they see the speed. And I think we should be looking at seeing if we can capture South Asia. I'm not sure we can capture China, but there's a big market for hockey there. And I find it amazing that, we're trying to sell a market that we already have. I agree with your point about Canada, US. That'd be fun. Yeah. But I'd like to see maybe it's an outdoor game with the women over on the Taj, the front steps of the Taj Mahal, because that whole outdoor thing is so stale and so old. It was an idea that was created when,
Well, the Order's created in 2003.
Yeah, right? I was at the first game, froze to death. And, but
you had a good time.
I did have a pretty good time. I never had to wear those boots again because I've never sat out that long. But I think we got to be thinking, I'd like to see the outdoor game become like an iconic event that you look forward to. Why wouldn't we have one underneath the Eiffel Tower? Why wouldn't we have one on an ice floe somewhere up in the end? Like, create an event that's exciting and try and sell our game to people that know nothing. I remember I took Colin Wilson, who produced Avatar, a friend of mine, to a game. He's British, never seen it in his life. He says, he sits me on the shoulder at the end of the first period and goes, "What the heck's wrong with you guys?" And of course, there's so much. I don't know what you're talking about, but this game's a mess. It's run by labor lawyers. It's not very creative. I said, "So what are you thinking?" He said, "Well, this is the most exciting live experience I've ever seen in my life. These guys are running working at twice the speed a man can run. They've got blades on their feet. They drop their gloves periodically on bare knuckle fighting. They're using a little stick, trying to get a little rubber thing at a goalie at the same time as they're trying to avoid being sideswiped by a guy twice their size. Why are you producing it with a camera on a 4-story balcony? There isn't a guy that hasn't watched, that has a potential fan of this game could see anything like I'm seeing because of that. And then he showed me how if you put 50 cameras here and you use the AI algorithms and I'm like, yeah, like, so we got to really rethink how we sell the game. But of course, the problem with television, they blow their brains out on the rights, so they don't invest much in production, right?
Yeah.
And so we end up having, everybody says we have the best product. Why are we dumbing it down so people who see it for the first time? I want some young 17-year-old girl that just immigrated from Mexico, sitting with her dad at the small apartment they just rented, going, "Dad, you got to come and see this, Dad. I don't know what this is, but this is insane what they're doing."
Yeah.
And then we put it on a camera. You know, we've all taken those pictures of the beautiful scenery at the mountains with our camera and went home and went, really not that.
Yeah, it doesn't look as good. And hey,
that's hockey.
Well, it's you sit and people who get the luxury, and there's not many seats in the first 5 rows, right? Because my season tickets are row 17, which are great seats. But I'll tell you, from row 17 to row 1, there's still a big difference.
Oh yeah.
And then you go from row 17 to the television, or row 17 to the second deck, and it's totally different. But you sit in the building sometimes for the atmosphere as well, so I understand that.
Yeah,
but the vast majority of people would love to go to the games. You can only get 18,000 in an arena, right? So I've never understood. I watch the games on TV sometimes. I'm like, God, the game looks slow. It's actually football players will look faster than they are.
Yep.
Whereas hockey players look slower on TV than they actually are in the game. And I agree with you on that. Television has to do a better. And to me, the NHL should just take it upon themselves.
Produce it. Right? It makes no sense. Like if you think of a NASCAR race, right? Like, until they got the cameras in the cars, got cameras closer to the action, like same thing. It looked kind of, they're running around the neighborhood. Like, I don't really get it. And then you get the cameras in the right position.
Yeah.
And you're going, oh my gosh. I remember my first trip to a NASCAR race sitting in Casey Kane's pit. And wow. I never.
F1's nuts to me. Like you watch him in F1 because of the speed.
Yeah.
And then you see how quick he's turning. You're like, oh my God, this is a little bit.
What I found funny is Casey Kane, we're in his pit. So we got, the earphones on and we're listening to what's going on. And, you forget how good these guys are, what they do. He gets out there and says, okay, which one of you idiots left the door unlocked? He's traveling at 200 miles an hour, 6 inches away from a guy in front of him. But that's what he does, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay, which of you idiots actually left the door unlocked? There's no door to unlock. Leave us alone. But it's fascinating that I think we've cheated the players. I get so frustrated. I think if we do this right, we're making way more money. We have way more fans. These kids, we let them down. The only people in our game that are held accountable are the guys on the ice, right?
Yeah.
That's, Calvin Pickard lets a 5-hole softie in. Everybody's talking about it tomorrow. And I think we need to have the same level of accountability off the ice to generate the money that these kids need to be comfortable for the rest of their lives, because most of them leave the game without enough to do that. And it's insane that they leave the game with no medical benefits. It's just crazy. And I think we need to be thinking of how to generate more revenue through various different means so that we can take care of these guys. We all make a lot of money, you included, because of what you do, me included because of what I do. We need to take care of them. It's not fair. These guys donate too much and dedicate too much to do what they do for our benefit, that we just let them down.
Ritch Winter joins us here in the business of sports on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, sports1440.ca. When we return, we got a lot of questions. We'd like to do this once out of every 4. We just talk a lot about get Rich's opinions on different things. We've had a lot of great guests in here. If you missed them, I highly recommend going back. Stephen Huska was unbelievable last week. Also, when we get back, we got some interesting questions in regards to the agency negotiation stuff, but also looking big picture business and sports and AI and more in the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
Shop like an insider with the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Save up to 25% off sofas, love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals. When you buy more, you save more. Up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Plus, save up to 20% off bedroom and dining furniture. Save up to $600 off big screen TVs. And up to 25% off TV stands, fireplaces, and wall units. Sleep better with mattresses up to 40% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Don't settle for being on the rate of last resort if you don't have to be. Check your most recent electricity bill. If it says the words rate of last resort on it, then there are likely better options available for you. In fact, you could save hundreds of dollars per year by switching plans. Check your bill, then go to ucahelps.ca to explore your options. You will likely find a better rate and could have hundreds more in your pocket by the end of the year. A message from the Government of Alberta.
What is with the weather lately? Is it winter? Is it an early spring? It's like Mother Nature's a hockey referee that can't quite figure out what an offside or a penalty is. Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to make the right call for your vehicle. Whether it's antifreeze, washer fluid, wiper blades, or that mysterious part you swear you just replaced, Napa has you covered. Because your vehicle deserves consistency. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or napacanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
whoa. Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson again. Did you know that all mechanical equipment has a typical life expectancy? A furnace and air conditioner generally lasts 15 to 25 years, and your hot water tank is more in the 6 to 12 year range. With that in mind, your mechanical equipment will last longer with regular maintenance and service from the pros at Weiss Johnson. Visit wjheats.com today to book your service or provide you with an estimate for a new furnace, air conditioner, or hot water tank that is long past its prime.
Imagine a family get-together where the smiles are as genuine as the conversations. That's the feeling you get at Nisku Ford, a family-owned dealership where finding a new Ford feels just like catching up with old friends. Swing by in February as the 2024 model clearout continues. Cash in on rebates of up to $9,000 or access finance rates as low as 0%. The coffee's on, so drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers score and win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave in 118th.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Ritch Winter, and the business of sports on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. As always, the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. And, of course, it is Wednesday night, and that means Canada, Sweden. You can get in on that. Use the promo code Gregor50 and get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. Also, it is Wednesday, and you know what that means. The trusty Lotto 649. 12 million up for grabs tonight. Get your tickets. PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to some question period time. I got to start with this one just because it's a little fun. Hey, has Ritch ever considered running for politics? That was a polished rant for the NHL's working class. I loved it from Darren.
I wouldn't give that a thought if my life depended on it, man. Is there a bigger bully pit to just get pushed around in at this point in life? Yeah, it's fine. My wife's dad was mayor for many years, East Purvis, and learned enough through that. But that would be, if there's more work required to accomplish less in some other profession, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it seems like it for sure. Hey, Rich, how often do agents or GMs use the media to float stuff out to the league and the general public? That one comes from Truck in the Park.
Well, Truck, I would say Alan Walsh always, and the rest of us almost never. Because the reality is, I did it in the old days. Because
So you did used to do it.
Oh yeah, then the Esa Tikkanen, Craig Meany days, we did those kinds of things because there wasn't a salary cap, and the owner's watching and he's being affected by it because you knew like he had more money. Well, maybe Pauckland didn't, but we thought he did. And so it was oftentimes a way to get it. Glenn, Slats wasn't really a guy that fell for it much, but Peter was pretty good at taking the bait. So in the old days I did, but also now it's so much more civil now because in the old days when a guy says, I don't have any more money in my budget, you go like, that's, you just didn't have any reason to believe that. Now when he says, I only have 800 left on the cap, you go, oh yeah, I looked it up. He only has 800 left on the cap. So we just get along a lot better, because there isn't a battle over an amorphous pie that doesn't exist. We know what the pie is. We know it exists. And yeah, I'm kind of surprised to say that this wasn't true early on because I was a bit of a battler, but I would say, I'm really close friends with a lot of these guys. I really like them.
Right.
I talked to a couple of guys today and they're down with their wives in Florida and they're telling me about, I've met one of their wives and, I talked to one of the, Steve Eiserman has 3 girls. We often talk a lot about his 3 girls, my 4 girls, kind of check in on each other. And I was thinking of a story. I can't tell that one, but, it's just different. It's just not of any value. And a lot of guys will just shut you down. Well, you do that in Lou Lamoriello's backyard, good luck.
Right.
So yeah, you just talk to guys, be upfront, try really hard. I mean, they don't always see it the way you see it. And sometimes I always find it interesting negotiating during the course of the season because on Tuesday after that hat trick, we think we're getting $5 million. And on Wednesday, when he went -4 and gave away those 3 bad passes, he thinks he's getting them on a 2-way. And it really is challenging. But outside of that, I mean, I think during the season, the broadcasts take care of it to an extent themselves. But no, it's a waste of time.
This one comes in from Doug. I'm curious, Rich, how long does it take to forge a relationship with the GM where that you can have a fair, quick, and prompt negotiation?
Well, I don't know. It just depends on the situation. Depends on, there's so many dynamics that are going on in a negotiation. You might think that the naive might think that we're only focused on X amount for the player that's fair. Well, you got, Swayman in the background looking for $1 billion and, there's all kinds of dynamics happening. So it really depends on the situation. I'd say I've the most, I get along with everybody. We kind of get to know each other's proclivities. Some guys will, some guys, if they think he's worth $1 million, they'll offer you $950 and settle at $1 million. And you just know that, right? And other guys will start at 600. Tree is amazing. Brett Trelawney, he starts at $1 and we end up at $4 million. Like it's just, but his style, it's different. And he's good. He grinds you down and you get tired, but you got to stay with it. But, it takes a while, but I've been doing this for, you say 40 years, I think.
No, I know. I've made 35. Come on. Now.
But, I know the guys like Lou Lamoriello was an old guy when I started, he's 82 now and he's probably sharper and brighter and in better shape than most of us. But yeah, everybody has a style and you just got to accept that. And, but it does, I think where it comes into play where things like, I got a guy on a tryout, right? And I have enough faith in the GM that I can trust him. One issue is always, and I'll give you an example without naming names. It was the most devastating experience I've ever had in my life. So, so a guy makes you an offer, right? There's no, if he tells you it's open for acceptance till noon, Friday, you call him at 12:01, that's your problem, not his, right?
Right.
But if he doesn't give you a deadline, there's just a generally accepted understanding that it's open. It's open.
So
right?
if he offered a client, here's $1 million.
Yeah.
For instance.
Yeah. So he says, I'll give you, Rich, I'll let me get back to you. And sometimes I'll wait a little bit because I want to see if that wait will get him to move a little bit, talk to the player. One time I got a call from a general manager and he offered me 1.5, 2 years. And it's the only time I had an offer pulled without notice of it. So I called him back on Monday and he's arrogant. He's no longer in the game. He's a dick. And so he said, offers off the table. I said, what do you mean offers off the table? I just talked to the player. He's accepted it. I didn't have any deadline. Yeah, I just felt that it's off the table. Too bad. And he was just really rude about it. And that sad thing about that is that player would have signed that 2-year deal that he accepted. Instead, he was in Russia on the plane that crashed. And he died because it just seems horrific consequences from a guy being, not true to his word. But that's the kind of thing where relationships are important. Like I know, like if Ken Holland says, I'll make us $2 million and I call him back in a week, it's still $2 million. He might call me on Wednesday and say, hey, I really do need to hear from you.
Right.
But he's not pulling it. And so that's where the trust element comes in. Or when I remember bringing Adam Ernie in here, Ken promised him 3 exhibition games. Adam felt like, okay, if I get that, I can show myself, and so many times you get a guy go in and he's promised 4 games and he gets a sniff in 1 game. So that's where the relationship comes into play. And it's really important because Adam Ernie's fighting for a deal. He's getting either $7.75 or 0.
Right.
The negotiations are 6 or 6.5 or 6.2. It's really insignificant in the end of it. But so it takes a long time to test a guy, see if that's going to be the case, right? And there's certain places I would never send a guy on a tryout based on the representation of the GM because I know he'll have 100 reasons why he couldn't make it happen.
Right. Okay. So there is, you do learn, right? And people's words obviously matter. So from the legality standpoint, because there's lots of agents that are lawyers, and if you have a verbal agreement, it doesn't really stand up, right? Like if I say to you, Rich, over the phone, it's $1 million. Does it stand like you can't go to court over it? It's just more of an honor system, correct?
Well, you can't because in the real world you can because the agreement, verbal agreement, if understood and provable, is no different than a written agreement.
But how could you prove it, I guess, is the question.
Well, that's the challenge, right?
You'd have to record the interview.
You had a buddy on the call with you, had one of your staff listen in. But in this case, it's very specific. You don't have a deal till it's filed with the league.
Yes, that's the league rule, right?
That's the league rule. But our rule is, with the guys we can trust, is, it's the reverse of the, I thought your handshake was like oak in the old Jerry Maguire movie. There's certain guys, when you make a deal, you have a deal. I don't even give it a thought. Like, I'll have players call me. Are you worried? I'm getting paperwork. Like, guys, it's Saturday. Like, he'll get it. Like, don't worry about it. It's Kenny or it's, Tree or whoever it is. As much as Tree can be tough to deal with at times, he's the honorable guy. I don't worry about it. Right. So, yeah, you just.
Have you ever had a player change their mind on a contract? Like they'd verbally agree and then the player changed his mind.
He didn't actually change his mind, but he thought about it. And Marian Hossa after he played in Detroit, we had got Ken to agree. He'll sign a 1-year deal, but you got to let us into the marketplace the minute the playoffs are over. Because we got a lot to decide in a short period of time. Mary's a very successful businessman. He doesn't think like most hockey players. We wanted to be prepared. So we were negotiating with Chicago. We had a deal, 12 years, all the money he wanted. Seemed like the right place. And he called me up like 40 minutes before free agent. Remember, Chicago traded Havlat, I think, to San Jose. I can't remember.
Yes.
So they made room for him on the cap, made room for him on the roster. And Marian says, do you think Dale would mind if I just sort of looked into free agency and saw if there's anything else out there? Because I'm kind of liking the Tampa possibility. There's no reporters there. It's quiet. Marian's not a real big fan of the media in terms of just the activity. He likes to keep to himself. So I said, well, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I'll call. And I thought Dale Dallin was going to fall off his chair and jump out of the window. But, I said, I was just asking, and so he went through with it, but it certainly gave Dale a bit of a heart murmur at that point.
So, and that's obviously the closest it came. But as an agent, when you go through the negotiation process with players, and you're talking, okay, you know what, Steve, this guy offered you 2 years, or this guy, because I know for a fact here in recent memory, some players have turned down a contract offer from a team on June 20th or May 20th, whatever it is 5 years or whatever. And because they're like, well, I think I can get more. And now as an agent, obviously, no one's 100% at reading the market because it's still a market, right? And the market can change, but you get a sense of it. How do you go through to tell your guy, like, hey, there's not a better offer coming? do you have like, do you got to be very strict? Like sometimes like, hey, I'm your agent. This is my job. And my job's not to, to tap your hand and say, yes, everything's great. How do you learn to balance that sometime where you maybe got to put the player in his place? Say, dude, like you're not a $6 million player. You're not getting a $6 million offer. This 4.2 is the best offer you're going to get.
See, I'd never handle it exactly that way because you wouldn't want to tell the guy he's not a $6 million player because that's not going to make him too flattered. But what you'd say is, my job is not to convince him to say yes. My job is to forcefully, when necessary, help him understand the risks.
Okay.
And if he makes the decision, then he has to live with it. But I had a player a while back who had a really good world championship, really good. And the team that had his rights offered him $775 over 500. Team wasn't very good. This is a pretty good player, played in the NHL. He was going to get every opportunity to play. And I was just like, man, like you got to take this deal. Like you just got to take this deal, man. I don't think there's a combination of, I always tell players, two things in every deal, opportunity and money. I always chase opportunity because it always leads to money. So I said, it's here. You're going to play 40 games. You're going to play the season. You're going to get a one-way contract. You're going to play in the NHL for 5 years. Nope. I want a one-way. So it was like $775 over 550. And we're very sure he's playing half a season at worst in the NHL. So he over like $75,000. He said no. And I reminded him, I called him back another time. I said, it's just not, this is a big risk here, buddy. And he ended up signing a AHL deal for $250. Right. And the team, of course the team went on to something else when he didn't take it. And so that's frustrating. I do remind him periodically, except for, except for you didn't take that deal, but you got to let them make their own decisions. And to this player's credit, he didn't blame me. He took responsibility himself. He said, look, I made a decision. I have to live with it, and that's our job, is to make sure that he doesn't reach that point where there's no other offer on the table. In this case, an NHL two-way. Don't make putting yourself in a position as, why didn't you tell me? Like,
right.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, buddy, you're out of your mind. Your wife's pregnant, man. This is nuts what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you tell them that. And I'm going to call you. I want you to think about it. I'm calling you in the morning. Go through it again. I think with this player, I went through it probably 2 or 3 times because the GM was like, I'm going like, I agree. You're right. I mean,
do you keep him as is there a time when you drop them as let's say, you know what, maybe our views don't jive?
No, because it's his life, right? I mean, I respect his ability to make a decision. Now, maybe I would feel that way if he was, he committed to a deal and then didn't follow through, embarrassed himself, embarrassed me. But look, I mean, this player had a lot of confidence himself, was a little bit unjustified in the circumstances. He was a little bit older, late 20s. It's tough, good, really good. He scored, at the NHL level, decent over a couple hundred games, but he's not at 28. There's a lot of 22-year-olds, buddy. There's a lot of 21-year-olds coming. I got to tell you, take this deal. You get yourself 50 games in the NHL. You're getting a 3-year deal at maybe $1 million. Like, you got to take this deal.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, when you're that aggressive with them, there's never any pushback after the fact. That's what your job is.
The John Klingberg situation from Dallas a few years ago.
Yeah.
When now all the reports were, and so reported by some guys pretty close that, and John actually spoke about it once where he turned down I think it was 7 years at $8 million or something.
Yeah, something terrible.
And then ended up I'm going to go to the market. Have you ever had a player who wanted to test the market that bad, but still luckily got the deal or close to it? Or did you ever have anybody in that Klingberg situation where they turned down a lot and then, I know the one you mentioned, but like a big time long-term deal?
No, I've never had that. I think with my guys, for the most part, generally security is an issue. I remember like Esa Tikkanen would have said no to that deal. Like Esa was just one of a kind, but most, it depends, like I just don't have guys that they're more, I think because I've had a European client base for most of my life. You see, the Europeans build cars to last 40 years. They build homes to last 300 years. Everything's longer term in their focus. They're living in the same house that their grandmother lived in with when their parents were young. They tend to really be more aware of the importance of long-term planning. So I just find most of the guys, they don't really find. I didn't have anybody that took that position. Now, Marian Hossa turned down an awful lot of money, but he made it. But he had a plan. He had a plan. He was quite comfortable turning it down. Now, if he was looking for the big money and he would have turned that down, I'm sure we'd have had a different conversation. But everybody, I think we just inform our guys a lot. I'd like to think, and they have a pretty good understanding of what it is. They understand what the risks are, and thank goodness no one's, it's sad when, it'd be sad to see, I don't know what Klingberg's done okay, but, especially a guy turned down a big contract that could set his family up for life.
Like mentally, it's hard to get over, I think, for some people.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that was not an easy one for him to get over.
Right. And then you throw in the injury and stuff like that. And, so you think John Klingberg comes back. To me, it kind of shows that, yeah, there's a physical ability there, but there's a mental toughness factor that he's being able to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I might have made a mistake. Now, lucky enough, he had made money prior to that it didn't bankrupt him. Like, he was good with his money. He had made, I think, 25 or 30 million already to that point. So it wasn't like, he had, it was coming out of his entry level deal, had made $1.5 million and then just turned down 50 million and has only made like 2 million since. Even then, if he only made 2 million since, it's still pretty good. But in the grand scheme of the numbers,
you see a guy like James Neal turned down. My understanding was he turned down a deal, virtually the same deal he got. Could have had one year less, and he was like, "Are you serious? Like you're happy in Vegas? Vegas has no state tax. You're like you don't even have to buy shoes. You can live in flip flops, right? What are you thinking? It's a great team, and look what happened to him. That must have been. I don't know James at all, but that had to be a tough one."
Jason Gregor, Ritch Winter with you on Sports 1440. When we come back, I do want to. We've talked a lot about because I know you have lots of contacts in other sports, and so I do have some business of sport questions not related to the NHL next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, with the business of sports.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Much of our challenges in healthcare can be solved by spending public dollars on a public system. Our healthcare system can't wait any longer.
Visit rebuildourhealthcare.ca to learn more.
Her work pulls her in 8 different directions. Her family constantly leans on her. She spends what little free time she has worrying about everyone else. But even though her life isn't always easy, she still makes time to brighten your day with a smile. Valentine's Day is your chance to do the same for her. The best beautiful bouquet from Bunches Flowers would sure do it. Petals that pop, colors that catch the eye, and the fragrance of a spring bloom.
They're gorgeous.
Pre-order now at bunchesflowers.com.
Let's act together to stop the destruction. We can rebuild our healthcare by respecting frontline workers and by putting patients before profits and politics.
Visit rebuildourhealthcare.ca to learn more.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles. Culligan.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.444, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Ritch Winter with us. The business of sport continues on. Rich, The other thing that, that has started to happen a little bit more often all of a sudden. And, Brandon Saad was a unique case because he had $4 million left next season. And he mutually agreed to terminate his contract just because he wanted to get out of St. Louis, I guess. Maybe they threatened to send him to the minors. I don't know. But so he gets out of it and then signs in Vegas for 1.5 mil. Now he's made a lot of money. So for some guys, like they're literally willing to walk away from $4 million the next year, which I know after taxes is $2 million, but whatever. It's a lot of money you're walking away from because happiness, everything else. Yes, Puljujärvi just did it in Pittsburgh. Then he signs an AHL deal with Florida's minor league team and go there. Is that a trend you're going to see more of here? Just because like some players, when you're a 30-year-old veteran and you've made enough money, you've already talked about opportunity, chase that over money anytime, that even though a guy is going to walk away from 1 year left at $4 million plus whatever he was making the rest of this season, to make a prorated 1.5, a lot more players are going to be willing to do it because, it was basically Brandon Saad was able to get traded where he wasn't tradable due to his contract. And now suddenly he got traded and got to go to the team he wanted. And the Blues are like, oh, great. We get out of this contract. We're happy. Vegas is like, great. We got a player for nothing. Right? Like it's a win-win all over. Do you think we're going to see more of this?
Well, I think it depends on the situation, but I think I've always said, I don't like to get players overpaid. People will be surprised to hear that because I think there's a range where a player's reasonably paid. At the lower end of the range, the team's kind of happy with that deal, but the player's not miserable. Let's say he's worth $1 million, he's getting $925. Yeah, it's a little low, but and if at the upper end, he might be $1.1 million. I want to be at the upper end of that range, but when he gets way above that, it becomes a problem because he's now way overpaid. He's getting harassed. His trade talk all the time. His kids at school are getting jibbed a little bit because their dad's not performing. Being overpaid is a recipe for a great degree of unhappiness. Being underpaid, same thing, but not as painful. So you see a guy like that and, they're just not happy. They want to enjoy the game. They're hockey players. They got in this to play. He's not playing much. He's not getting an opportunity. So he may have done the calculation in his own mind. Look, I'm going to give up $4 million next year. But if I get in there on a long playoff run and show them, because sometimes happens, coaches have fallen out of love with a player. Doesn't mean he's not any good, right? It just means if coach fell out of love with him and he's not playing him. So he goes somewhere else. Maybe he says, you know what? For half a season or a quarter of a season, I'm going to take a little bit less money. I'll get a deal next year because I know what I can do. And so I think in those situations, you'll see it. And players just don't like being abused. And sometimes coaches, they're all subjectively oriented. They all have biases and they make a lot of mistakes. If they were so smart, Dominik Hasek doesn't go from the minors to the NHL MVP a year later, right? These guys are human and they don't make all the right decisions. And sometimes the player and we are right. So I don't know the dynamics behind Brendan said, but I think we're seeing more often where teams are saying, willing to consider that. Players are willing to consider it because it's now happened more often. Like we're a copycat league, right? So big defenseman on a team wins a cup, everybody gets a big defenseman. No one seems to have a strategy. Players are taking buy-ups. Well, if he did it, like why wouldn't I do it?
And I'm sure if it happens too frequent, then they'll probably put a change in the CBA somehow. I don't know, and maybe they won't. I do want to add, when we talk about the business of sport and you look at hockey overall, and obviously the NHL is the peak of hockey. Yeah. But in order to get there, you need all the other levels and you need development, and that's very key. And then you need junior hockey and everything like that. And when I look at, the development model in Canada and, a simple thing like the WHL, I would change the WHL draft to a year later, like they have in Ontario, like they have in Quebec. And because I know that, they don't want to change that because of, all
the guys in the pipeline.
Blah, blah. And I'm like, give me a break. But second of all, you move it up, then you could do something even better because and the numbers match it up. There's lots of kids leaving hockey when they get to contact, right? Because they don't like it. There's lots of no contact leagues now. Great. But to me, you've got 3 years of U17, right? Why not have 3 years of it would technically be U16, but the first year would all be first years. They would all learn contact together. None of them would be WHL draftable if you're worried about it in Alberta and BC and stuff, because Ontario, their leagues, they only have a 1 year for everybody anyway. So they all learn at the same time anyway. We could probably implement that here. But if you're not going to me, like I look sometimes at the NHL and these other leagues and I'm like, To me, there should be more think tanks together to say, how do we help the game of hockey that isn't just a game of the NHL?
Oh yeah, it's like, I mean, these are monopolies, right? Run by oftentimes lawyers. They're not very innovative or creative. I just think it's frustrating to me to see all of the errors made. Like, for example, there's not a really good coaching leadership program to teach players sort of the love, more embracing, inspiring approach that we talked about a few weeks ago with Steve Hauska. Like, it's just, the whole thing is in many ways a mess. And we need to really look at what's going to bring players in. I don't know if your example is a good one or a bad one. I'd have to do a lot more research and think about it. But at the end of the day, why do we insist that a player, not play where he wants to play hockey? What if a young 14-year-old kid, we're seeing more movement now. We're seeing some of the American junior or the Alberta Junior Hockey League teams moving out to play in the BC League. Like, we got to think about what's best for the kids. Like, they're kids. Like, I find it weird. I remember went to a game a number of years ago in Red Deer, and the goalie from Swift Current for the Swift Current Broncos was from Red Deer, and the goalie for Swift Current or for the Red Deer was from Swift Currents. Like, how is that making sense to anybody? I don't understand. I'm a dad. I find it completely incompatible with good family upbringing to pull a kid out of his house when he's 15, 16 to live with another family, when oftentimes the mom kind of has a hankering to him. I mean, it's a mess, this whole thing. And we've seen so much abuse at so many levels. I just wish we'd think of the kids more. Like, if you're their dad, what would you do? I think we need more kind of parental type discussions around the game itself, because it doesn't really matter, if the Swift Current Broncos have a goalie from away. Like, let's figure out how we can keep these kids at home more.
Yeah, and like there's I think lots of conversation. Obviously, nothing will be perfect, and that's fine. Yeah. But you can always look to improve. And I still find that hockey is glacier moving, and that's probably even complimentary. Yeah. As far as to wanting to invoke change at a lot of other levels. And even at the lower levels, the minute they try to make one, it's like, oh, geez, you know what? They think about the small percentage it helps, and they don't think about the bigger gains, which would actually benefit, because hockey's having fewer kids play all the time. Yeah. Well, that's not what you want.
No.
Right? And I get that, some of the kids maybe don't have the passion to be pros. I don't care. That's not what it's about. And hockey's proven statistically to be a late developing sport. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. That's numbers, data over years and years of research that it's true. And so if we're having kids in the game who might end up being really good, and they're out of the game early for a variety of different reasons, because as simple as, you get into contact. Now your kids, everybody's a year older in Alberta. And guess what? They don't do it in lots of other parts of our own country, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me there's not a better option, because it's actually there. And we choose in Alberta not to do it. And to me, I just think it's
why
ridiculous.
Can't the elite player play up three age groups? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, why would you, look at FC Barcelona? Like, Messi didn't play with the 14-year-olds. When he's 14, he played with the 16-year-olds. When he was 16-year-old, he played with the men. We don't allow that. We need to allow people to develop at their own speed. We need to be.
They do that because you allow the in the WHL you can have like Mickey.
But at the lower ages, you can't do all those things. We just need more flexibility that's focused on the development of the child, right?
Yeah.
Not Hockey Canada's a rule. The typical immune response in organizations that don't improve is, we don't do it here that way.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the whole thing I don't know if we talked about here on air about get the puck to the net. Well, why? And I've never found a hockey guy to give me an answer. And the answer is, don't send the puck to the net unless it's the most viable option. If you know a guy's in a high scoring, danger scoring position, get the puck to him. If you're in a high danger scoring position, get the puck off your stick towards the goalie. And if you have none of those options, get the puck to the net, and create some chaos, because that's all you got. And there's just so many intuitive mantras that make absolutely no sense. Remember when the Europeans first came over? Oh, it's fine. Yeah, the forwards, but those defensemen, they can't skate backwards. That big ice service and and then the goalies, they can't play. You see that Hashi guy? I don't know what he's doing. And it's just one after the other. We break them down over time. But I just wish there was some better, deeper, more meaningful thinking into what the game could do for us as a community versus a few elite coaches, players, and people who are trying to hold on their jobs at places like Hockey Canada,
When you talk, because you talk to guys in lots of different sports and agents and other sports, and course, and when you first started, actually, you're into acting and other representing other stuff like that. If you could look at it from a utopian view, what is one thing you would like to see integrated into the NHL that isn't here now?
Well, I'd like to see them hire a Hollywood producer and produce the game in a way that we could actually see the game in the same fashion that it unfolds in front of us in row 5, because it's just like, it's crazy that there's things that we do. We still have the cameras sitting in the same place they were in the Montreal Forum when the first game was televised between the Canadiens and the Detroit Red Wings. We need to think about our product. We need to figure out how to bring it to the masses, and we need to make it compelling, because if we could get everybody in India to come and watch a game live, we would have 10 to 15% of that audience on television every single week. But we got to get them to understand that the game that they're seeing on television reflects the game that we have. We just don't produce it right. I think we need to I would say, if there's one thing in the game, call the penalties, man.
Yeah.
I've argued.
Actually enforce the rule book?
You mean, I've tried, a lot of times. I've just given up. Cop stops me, I'm going 15 over. I just give up. You do the crime, you have to pay the time, but I just don't get it. It's an important game. Well, Connor McDavid took it in his own hands the other day. It just makes no sense. You're allowed to hurt. We created rules to protect and create a healthy, clean, vibrant, but physical game. Call the rules. Yeah. It's not Yellowstone. It's hockey, guys.
That's the most simple one that seems just something the NHL doesn't want to do.
Well, I think he's going to let it go late in this game. He's going to let him play.
Yeah.
Holy smokes! I think that he might be dead.
Yeah.
It makes no sense whatsoever. It's so simple.
Yeah, I don't get it. Ritch, great stuff. We look forward to. We got a few big guests coming up in the next few weeks in the business sports. Should be fun. Have yourself a great week. Enjoy the World Cup and enjoy the non-calls from the beach.
You mean I'm going to have to stop watching the rest of Yellowstone and watch a hockey game? I don't think so.
No. Well, what season are you on?
People will be surprised. We're on season 3. I've never watched a series because I hate series, because you get wired. You have to keep watching them. We're just finishing up season 3. I think we're on.
Okay, we got 2 left.
Yeah, so I'll finish off tonight. I watch a little hockey, but
how many episodes are you watching tonight? 2?
2 or 3. Yeah,
2 or 3. Ooh, committed.
Yeah, we're committed. I committed to Cindy to spend some time watching it, so we're gonna watch it. And then I guess the next is Blue Bloods, but I hear there's 297 episodes. I don't know.
What about 18? Have you watched the prequels to Yellowstone? I actually argue they're better.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah,
I haven't watched
1923.
I think it's a little bit over the top.
It is over the top. I didn't fit. Yellowstone was one of the episodes I just gave up on. I was like, too many of the characters became unlikable for me, and I love.
I think if they did
exactly
the same thing, but people weren't, because people aren't getting shot and killed in Montana. There's nothing happened. But if they were beat to a pulp and didn't comply, there was just a way of making that more believable. But it's a great storyline. It keeps you interested. That battle between good and evil and trying to figure out who the heck is evil. It's all right.
I do want to quickly get to this because athletes first, of course, agency in the NFL that represents players for the second consecutive year. Now they have 32 players coming up in the NFL draft. And they said they will respectfully pass on any cognitive or psychological assessment, that teams want to do on their players. They're not going to allow them anymore. What do you make of that as an agency? You think that's something that's, now not the NHL, I don't think has that, right? Does the NHL have the cognitive or psychological assessments?
Yeah, most teams do it. We don't have a problem with it because ultimately I want, for my business, I want the best product on the ice.
Okay.
So if there's a reason, there's a way of a team getting more information to make sure as they struggle out of the doldrums of having failed for 5 years under a bad management team, that they have a higher probability of selecting a player that has a chance to take them to the promised land, but might miss out on that because of a psychological assessment that finds out he's got issues at multiple levels that will not allow him to be a leader in that locker room. I want them to get the best player. I don't think transparency should be number one here to make sure that we don't pull the wool over anybody's eyes. I don't think it's helpful to anybody. It's not helpful to the kid who goes drafted way higher than he should. Maybe if he did a psychological test, he'll go in the 6th round, get a lot of pressure off him, allow him to develop. Maybe it's even better for him. Sure, the agency might miss out on the big signing bonus they get in the NFL, but I I just think, I wouldn't hide an injury, and I don't think we should. It's just deceptive, and I don't agree with it.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich. We appreciate it. Great stuff. We'll talk to you next week. That's Ritch Winter and the Business of Sport. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Every day in February, they're giving away free smoothies. Today, if your name is Paul or Monique, you get a free smoothie at Booster Juice. Follow them online every day to find out when your name or if your name comes up this month of February. Free smoothies only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
We're just over an hour away from puck drop out in Montreal as the Four Nations face-off gets going. Sweden and Canada in the association. Every team in action tonight. That includes the Toronto Raptors, who host the Cavs. Tip-off 5:30. Also, Philly taking on the Nets. Wizards host the Pacers. Spurs in Boston. Thunder Heat. Suns in Houston. Jazz taking on the Lakers, and the Warriors up against the Mavericks. Edmonton Oil Kings will play tonight, taking on the Regina Pats at Rogers Place. Puck drop 7 o'clock. It is Wednesday. That means $2 hot dogs all game long. Edmonton Elks released defensive lineman Jamin Pelly. Spent the last 3 years as a member of the Green and Gold. Last season, recording 25 tackles. In the AJ, we got Camrose taking on Fort Mac and Old hosting Lloyd. Both games start at 7. And in the PWHL, we're moments away from puck drop as New York takes on Boston. From the majors, Pete Alonso is back with the New York Mets 2-year deal worth $54 million. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Jamie Thomas. Talk a little Four Nation face-off. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Kids get in free all season long. Can you believe it? Looking for an enjoyable and affordable family night out? The Spruce Grove Saints are excited to introduce their Kids Get In Free program. All kids 12 and under receive free admission for every Saints home game this season. Bring the entire family for action-packed junior hockey at a fraction of the cost. For more information, check out sgsaints.ca.
Ooh, girl, the way you touch that thermostat, it really turns me on. Like a heat exchanger, sensual phenomenon. Wanna play your favorite song when we turn the heating on like a legacy of love.
Legacy Heating and Cooling keeps your Valentine sizzling hot. You can afford to shower your Valentine with affection because Legacy offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. And that's how you build your legacy of love. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Shop like an insider with the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Save up to 25% off sofas, love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals. When you buy more, you save more. Up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Plus, save up to 20% off bedroom and dining furniture. Save up to $600 off big screen TVs. And up to 25% off TV stands, fireplaces, and wall units. Sleep better with mattresses up to 40% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
New Edge Construction wants you. We are hiring for several positions. Join a leading civil construction group in the Edmonton region. A strong team, competitive wages, retention bonuses, and current model equipment are what awaits you at New Edge. Go to newedgeconstruction.com. That's NUEDGE construction.com.
Join a leading civil construction group in the Edmonton region. Start your career now. Go to newedgeconstruction.com.
Diablo Boots in Canada West, the two best names in work, biker, and western boots. Diablo has been selling quality Canadian boots for over 60 years, from size 6E to 15EE. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Red Wing, and Dakota, when Diablo Boots has the best quality for less? Made in Winnipeg. Plus, all of Diablo Boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes, or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. You know, guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an HVAC technician. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to install furnaces. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well,
okay. Call Legacy, call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service, rain or shine? Japa's service department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock, we're about an hour away from puck drop in Four Nations. Canada taking on Sweden, and hockey fans every 2 years. Well, starting it's not. It'll be every 2 years starting next year because, of course, next February will be the Olympics. But then in 2028, there will be the World Cup of Hockey again. 2030, there will be the Olympics. 2032, there will be the World Cup of Hockey. It looks like the NHL and the NHLPA have decided, at least for 2028, they are going to have an international competition. Where it's going to be played, yet to be determined. There's going to be a bidding process for host cities and venues, and it sounds like it's going to be more teams involved in the next one, which likely means a European flair. Interesting because they say it'll be played on NHL-sized rinks using NHL rules and officiated by NHL officials. And so other competition details will be determined. So the reason why they put that in is because if you play in Europe, they will be playing on NHL-sized ice. Now, lots of rinks in Europe have actually been going away from the old, Olympic-sized ice to the normal North American NHL-sized ice. Just because the truth is the game's better, right? I remember when Canadians would try, play it on Olympics, it's better. I'm like, no, it's not better. What are you guys talking about? It's worse. It's not better, right? It's just not. So I wouldn't play it there whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever to do that. So good for them. They're going to have it, and it's going to be on normal NHL size ice. Let's get to the spec report now, brought to you by GS Construction. As you make your way home tonight, I know construction's still out there. You see the red barriers and stuff. Well, I guess they're orange. Be sure to slow down through construction zones, as there's still people working even in the cold, and they want to get home to watch the big games just like you. It's GS Construction. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Pretty fair, Jay. It sounds like fun. World Cup coming up. Regular schedule of international hockey. Let's get back on it here.
Yeah, every second February, it seems like, starting in 2026 for at least for the near future. That's going to be the plan. The Olympics in the NHL always seems to be it's on thin ice because the NHL owners are all like, well, I don't really want it. We can't make all the money off of it, which shows that maybe they are greedier than you think. But nonetheless,
whoa, hold on now. Hold on here. I would say to you that, yes, the NHL owners are greedy. We're going to agree on that.
Yes. So is the Olympic Committee, don't get me wrong.
The IOC is even more greedy, though, right? The IOC is an impossible partner for NHL owners. And my best example that I've stated before is they take the IOC gets all the players, they get Connor McDavid, they sell out their venues, they get giant TV numbers and make all this money. And then when Connor McDavid returns to Edmonton, the Oilers can't even sell a jersey with the Olympic rings on it because the IOC says, no, we keep the rings. You don't get to make any money off them. Only we do. So the IOC is one of the worst partners in the history of partners. And it might be the only time I defend NHL owners right there, Jay.
No, that's fair. Hey, the IOC, you're right. Just when you think the owners aren't lovable, then you have the IOC, and that's when the NHL owners look good.
In almost every city that you've ever been to, there's some little Greek guy who owns some place called Olympic Pizza, right? Like, name the city, and I'll find you something called Olympic Pizza, Olympic Steak. Well, before you get an Olympics in your city, the IOC copyright people go to that poor old little Greek guy and make him change the name of his restaurant that's been there for 50 years. So the IOC is a pain in the rear end. I don't love them much, as you can probably tell.
Yeah, dude, you make good points, man. I've said the Olympics is the biggest scam going.
It is.
And how they rip off countries every 4 years and pay gazillions amount of money. And, it's like you look at what happened in Brazil. I still feel sorry for so many of the local people. And, they wasted so much money on those facilities that are now run down already. And it's awful. And I've said for a long, long time, the Olympic format and the competition, love it. The business side, I hate it. And I would hope no different than the World Cup of soccer and to how much they wanted Edmonton. That's why Edmonton eventually just backed out, because the ridiculous amount of demands they had and money this and this and money that. And they're like, no, we're not doing it. And guess what? You won't miss it that much. I wish I could go to the games. Well, get in a plane and go to the games. You can always still go to the game. If you have that much money, you can go to the games. But for the overall person, you shouldn't have the average person having to pay that much. It's just like the level of what they want. And how much money these people end up for facilities don't even use is brutal to me.
Okay,
now,
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
The next is 2026, isn't it? No, 28 is the next World Cup, right?
Olympics in 26 and 30, World Cup in 28.
Okay. Will Leon Draisaitl play in the World Cup in 2008?
28, yes.
Will Germany have a team?
I don't know if it'll be Germany spec, but they are going to ensure that there's more. Like I'm assuming they hope that the political landscape in the world, and let's hope for everybody that the war has ended. So Russia would be in number one. I think they'll have Czechoslovakia, and I think Germany will be. And I won't be surprised, Beck, if they have another Team Europe of guys from Denmark, from Austria, from Germany,
Kopitar.
Yeah, and they come now. They come together to form a team, right? I could see that being an option. And maybe if the NHL tries to work with, if let's say the Germany's hosting some games that year, well, maybe the German Elite League shuts down for those weeks so their players could play for Team Germany. That could be an easy selling point.
What are we thinking though? Like it can't be more than an 18 tournament.
Gosh, no, might only be 6, right? The Canada Cup.
Okay, whoa, slow down. So let's go here. You got Canada, you got US, you got Russia. We're going to say they're playing by then. You got Sweden. You got Sweden. You got Finland. We're at 5. Okay. Now you get the Czechs and the Slovaks. We're at 7. Why do you think Germany is the next team?
No, you can't have the Czechs and the Slovaks, Beck. You know why? They don't have enough NHL defense, because right now this is NHL only players. So that's why I'm saying the host country that year, like 1 year might be Germany hosting. So then they're going to be in it. And they're going to make a deal with their league to shut down for that bit so their players can play and represent. Because you go through Czechia or Slovakia right now. Slovakia, I think, has 2 regular NHL defensemen. Switzerland's another country that has some guys, but not enough of them. So I think they will either combine the 6 team to be Germany, Denmark, Australia, Czechia, Slovakia, and combine them all together. Right. I could see that. Or it might be where, one of those countries that hosts, they make a deal with their elite league that year that it shuts down for a few weeks. Because if some of your best players in their league spec get to play against McDavid and get to play against Matthews, or even get to play against Kucherov, name it, the star NHL players, that's going to be a good selling point in their league for those players and their fans.
Yeah, it would sell NHL hockey in those countries. That is fair.
But it would promote. It would even promote their own players that are playing in the elite league in Czechia to say, hey, look at our guys, how they tested. And they could sell that to their fans. Hey, Jan Ruta just played great. I'm just using him as an example, shutting down Nikita Kucherov. You got to come watch him.
Yeah. And what happens when he gets lit up?
Wow, that'll happen too. But guess what? Guys get lit up in the NHL too.
So anyway, that is a sort of a unique problem that is really exclusive to hockey. We've had our best on best and our Canada Cups and our Olympics, and everyone agrees it's we love it. It's all the best memories you ever get. But we always have had players like Leon Draisaitl is probably the ultimate example of a great player from a country that doesn't have 20 NHL players in it, right? There aren't 20 German NHLers here. How you could look it up quick, I'm sure. I don't know how many there are. I'll bet you there's like 6.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Sider, Stutzla, the other young kid. Yeah, there's
Patera in Buffalo's a nice player.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're talking about 5 or 6 guys. Obviously, they can't have a whole team. So yeah, and Slovakia is the same. Even the Czechs, they don't have enough guys probably.
No.
So yes, it's unique. And then you get a guy who's a Hall of Fame player like Anze Kopitar, and
Slovenia is the only one.
Only Slovenian ever to lace up the skates in the NHL, and probably ever will. So it's unique, and you want those guys to play, but what uniform are they going to wear, right?
Yeah. Well, they had a Team Europe, and hey, Team Europe made the final, funny enough.
They were good.
In 2016. Yeah, they're a really good team. So
Miro Shatan GM that team, and he did a hell of a job. He put a really good team together.
Yeah, and it is different because they're not representing their country, but, you come together, and I know I talked to some of the players, and they're like, you know what, before it started, I didn't love it, but once we got in the games, man, you know what, we came together as a team. So it's like anything. It's not perfect, but it's better. And so this is coming in 2028. Spec, Mike Rupp brought up a really good point earlier in the show, how he said, okay, there's 7 games here. And you know what? If you're ever going to grow your games, like they're going to be on ABC in the US on Saturday. That's a pretty big deal. You don't get a lot of hockey games on ABC in the United States, so everybody can have them. They have so many problems with their cable outlets right now. But so let's say you have Canada USA, and it's a big rivalry game, but it's 2-1 or 3-2. That's not what sells. What is everybody? What was the greatest series ever? 6-5, 6-5, 6-5. Canada Russia, right? You need goals. Do you think we're going to have goals in this tournament?
Oh boy, I do. You know what? I'm gonna be my usual positive, sunny self, Jason, and I'm gonna say that the defenders just won't be able to handle the amount of offense we have here. I'm gonna say that we're looking. I mean, is it going to be 6-5? It's not going to be 6-5. I fear for poor Finland. They might get lit up a couple of days. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to be 4-3 hockey, not 3-2 hockey or 2-1 hockey. I think we're going to get, on average, 7 goals a night, which is, I think acceptable. Listen, 6-5 hockey. Is there such thing anymore for 3 games in a row like there was in 1987? That was, put that series in the museum, pal. But I would say we're going to get 4-3 hockey for sure. What do you think?
Well, God, I hope so. I don't know. I've seen scoring, like I've been watching how many games have one team scoring 2 goals lately in the NHL spec, and the trend has gone up way more here in the last 6 weeks of the season. I haven't liked it. And so maybe the recency bias is clouding my judgment, because you know me, I love offense, but hockey is an extremely exciting game, but not when there's no lead changes and not when there's any goals. I'm sorry, it isn't. Some guy out there, 2-1, great defensive game. Every now and then, yes. Every now and then, fine. Not when it matters most. I'm sorry. It just isn't.
Well, you can't. Listen, I made a career harping on this, or part of a career. I covered those Kings teams that won those cups, and I was probably the one guy that was trying to tell people that it's great they're winning cups, but they're ruining the game while they're doing it. My theory's always been this, Jay. It's like a 1-0 game in baseball. Let's talk about baseball. You go to the park and you run into a pitcher's duel, and it's 1-0, and it's a fast game, and it's exciting. You go, wow, man, I just saw a great game. If you're leaving the house, heading to the ballpark, saying, "Oh, it's going to be 1-0 again," that's no fun, right? I'll take a 2 like that Game 7 last year, 2-1, hard fought. I'm not going to complain about that. There's tons of goals in that Stanley Cup final. But don't tell me I'm showing up at the rink like I did watching the LA Kings in whatever that was, 12 and 14 or whatever. And I knew every day the best you were going to get was 2-1, maybe a 3-1 empty net goal. That was awful hockey. It was awful then. It's awful now. I don't want any part of it.
Yeah. So I'm hoping starting tonight, we're going to see some goals. No lead is safe. 2-0. All of a sudden it can be 2-2. Right. You want teams to keep pushing. Now the rules do encourage that if you get up 3-1, you want to get up 4-1, in fact, because of tiebreakers and shuts a short series and a short game plan, that can matter. So hopefully they go for it. But I think as hockey goes, Ritch Winter's another guy I just talked about. Hey, Rich, there's one change you could make. He goes, enforce the rule book. And it's such an easy damn thing to do, and they never do it. And this year, there's fewer penalties now than ever. And you're just like, why? What? Don't tell me that the game is way cleaner. It isn't. I just don't want to call it.
How do we do this? How did we get to a place where there's so few, like, power plays are down? Certainly by my eye test, they're way down for the Oilers. I don't know what about the whole league here, but power plays are down.
Oh God, yeah.
You're right. Don't tell me it just got a bunch cleaner, because it didn't. It's the same guys playing the same game. What changed here?
Yeah, well, they don't they don't want to call it nearly as much as they used to. It's just a simple fact, and it's annoying as all in for me anyway. Do I think it's going to improve? So, and the worst part is, Spec, and I've trust me, I've tracked this for many years. Like, you look at last season, Spec, in the NHL. Last year in the NHL, this is how much it's down. 17 teams averaged 3 power plays a game. 17. This year, there's 2. And and guess what? In the final third of the season, the power plays have always gone down. So you had 17 teams last year who ended the season averaging 3 power plays a game. We're already at 2, and one of them's at 3.02. That's Boston. The only team that's even slightly above 3 is Ottawa at 3.29. That's it, right?
Wow.
The Oilers, one of the high-scoring teams, they got 2 of the top 5 players in the league. They're only at 2.55. Like, it's disgusting, and there's just too many people that are just, well, you know, I'm a hockey fan. Like, give me a break. Call the NHL on their garbage, and that's the garbage. Don't tell me that from one year to the next, we're suddenly all Lady Bing candidates and know how to play the game better. Give me a break.
All right, man. That's an awesome rant. I don't think I could follow that.
It's just so annoying. Quickly for tonight's game, Spec, what are you expecting from this one as far as, like, are we going to see McDavid and McKinnon just, shift after shift going end to end, and do you think we'll see him at all 5-on-5?
Well, a couple things. Looking at that power play that Canada has, I expect a bunch of guys who are going to overpass the puck for a while, because there's, what a power play that is. No, it's, the funny thing about, like, Connor McDavid's used to playing 24 minutes. It's hard to get 24 minutes on an all-star team. It's hard. Like, that coach isn't going to sit his fourth line down like every coach in the NHL does, because his fourth line is pretty good. So it's a different dynamic here, right? The coach is not shortening a bench as quick when he's got 12 all-star forwards. In a short tournament, like the question was asked the other day, Jay, let's say the top line's not getting it done. Let's say Reinhart, McDavid, Marner are not finding chemistry. Do you stick with them because they need some time to find it? Or do you say, we don't have time to stick with it, we got to change our lines up? Like, how long do you get to find some chemistry?
Well, not much, right? So you kind of got to find it quick, and then the risk is, geez, if you change it, then you're always searching, right? So
you're always searching. Yeah,
it's a challenge for sure for John Cooper. I just do think, like, the one thing you could look at and say, hey, I might not have great chemistry, but I'm going to put the 2 fastest guys together on the ice, and say, hey, let's just see how uncomfortable they can make it for the opposition.
Well, I covered that Team North America. That was one of the coolest gigs I ever did, I thought, back in the, 2016 World Cup. McDavid had just been drafted the year before, right?
Yeah.
And they played, McKinnon and McDavid and Matthews were playing on a line for a while there. And when they played that last game against Sweden, that Team North America was so fast that even the Swedes, who were all veterans, it had the Sedins and it had all these killer, Nick Lidstrom's playing for that team, if I'm not mistaken. They could barely handle the speed of that Team North America. It was an unbelievably great hockey game of a bunch of guys just going at lightning speed. So I'm with you. I can't wait to see McDavid and McKinnon on the same line at the same time, and some poor sucker on Swedish defense like Ekholm trying to corral those guys. I think it'd be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, it should be great. I'm looking forward to it. Spec, let's hope it's a great game. We'll talk about that too up USA and Finland and much more. Have yourself a great day.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Think about that statistic. 17 teams down to 2 in 1 year. And by the end of the year, there'll only be 1. Teams aren't suddenly going to see their power plays increase here in the final third of the season. Not happening. It's brutal. Quick break. We'll return on the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Roses are red, violets are blue. To heat things up this Valentine's Day, a Papa John's pizza will certainly do. Flowers are nice, but so is a slice of delicious handcrafted pizza made with fresh ingredients. Right now, get a medium 2-topping pizza and your choice of dessert for only $25.99. Order today at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app using the promo code LOVEDAY. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Papa John's.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
From the casinos of Vegas to the bingo halls of Leduc, everybody wants a piece of Lady Luck. And what thanks do I get? It's like I don't have any...
There's no such thing as luck. If you gamble, use your game sense. Visit GameSenseAB.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Ooh, the highway to the danger zone. Of course, we're talking Four Nations, but right now in the National Hockey League, I know the team is off, but the one team that might be the most dangerous team in the National Hockey League is residing in Canada, the Winnipeg Jets, who entered the break on an 8-game winning streak. They're 39-14-3 this season. They now have a 9-point lead on Dallas in their division and a 9-point lead on Edmonton in the conference. So they're looking pretty good that they could finish first in the West. Let's go in the room now, brought to you by Action Electrical, where you can take action on your savings with Action Electrical. They got 4 great divisions with solar, if that interests you, with TAG, with projects and service. They're one of the most diversified electrical contractors in Alberta. ActionElectrical.net. Stop in, say hi to Blake and the gang, and trust me, you'll get unbelievable top quality service. As we are joined by a gentleman who's actually in Montreal right now, but of course usually covers the Jets, is probably there covering Mr. Josh Morrissey for Winnipeg Jets. Jamie Thomas joins us. JT, how you doing, man?
Really good, Jason. I've covered 3 World Juniors, but I've never been to a best on best. I've been involved in the NHL, so pretty excited about this thing.
Oh, it should be great. I'm sure. I know Jets fans are annoyed that Mark Scheifele's not there, leads all Canadians in goals, but the Olympics is next season. He's definitely put himself in the conversation for that. Before we get to the Four Nations, just want to talk about the Jets. And you know what? That unreal start. They had a slight little dip maybe for 10 games in November, December, but now they've heated right back up. and they did it without their captain Lowry for a lot of it. A lot of it, myself included, think, geez, the Jets need a center iceman, second line that is. But even without their third line center, they're pretty good. Do you still think, in an ideal world, they would go add a second line center?
Yeah, I think they'd be silly not to in some ways. And I look at the second line, and I see Vladislav Domestikov, I see Cole Perfetti, and I see Nikolai Ehlers. And yeah, they're playing some fantastic hockey right now. But to me, there's not enough size there for the grind of the playoffs. And that's no insult to those three players. And Vladislav Domestikov, one of those Swiss Army knife guys who can play up and down your lineup. Ideally, I see him in the fourth center spot going forward. But if they don't, they've shown without Adam Lowry as their third center that they can count on Rasmus Kupari, who they got in the trade of the Los Angeles Kings in that third spot in the checking line. So you're learning things by guys being hurt. But I still don't see a way where they don't try and add a second centerman. That being said, Jason, there's a lot of teams in the National Hockey League outside of Edmonton that are in need of a second centerman. So the prices will be high, and they're interesting to see what price has to be paid and if the Jets will pay it when the trade deadline comes around.
Any other areas of need, do you think, at all for Winnipeg?
I think much like the second center with size, you need a little more size on your back end. Now, Logan Stanley's been given a great opportunity here. The coaching staff has stuck with him. He's going through a little bit of a rough patch right now in terms of confidence. But if he can't get to a consistent place by playing game after game, I think they're going to have to address and get a third-party defenseman with some size that can block shots, kill penalties, and obviously some physicality there as well. But the lease is pretty long for Logan Stanley. Still some time here until the trade deadline. But I also like what team doesn't need him that defenseman as well. So I still think that's a key interest for the Winnipeg Jets to add that. That's going to be the case before the deadline.
Looking at Scheifele's year, right? This is his best season. What has he done different this year that's noticeable than previous years?
Well, I think before he signed the extension with the Jets, there was that trepidation. You're entering the last year of your contract, and I think maybe that 200-foot game that he's playing now wasn't really there, and he was criticized for it. But once his future was determined, he signed the extension with the Jets. I think he bought into what Rick Bowness was selling eventually, and also what Scott Arniel is selling right now. He's playing the full two-way game. Gabriel Velarde's been healthy the whole year. That's played a large role in his success this year. And then, of course, the power play. The power play is number one in the National Hockey League at 33.3%. That has played a large role in Mark Scheifele's success, but his all-round game has been tremendous and has gotten better over the last 2 years to the point where he is in that conversation to play for Canada if Sidney Crosby would have been able to play here in Montreal.
Yeah, even if I argued Scheifele could have been there before, and whatever, there's guys that are there, and that's fine. If they win, people aren't going to matter, and maybe it benefits Scheifele to get a little bit of a break. But you mentioned that Bowness started it, but Scott Arniel comes in, and that's not an easy job, Jamie. There's very few assistant coaches that are able to go into the head coaching job of the same organization and have success. It's difficult to do, right? Like we saw Dave Lewis tried in Detroit and it did not work. We've seen other guys, John Muckler way back when with the Oilers did it for a short period of time. But what is Scott Arniel? Has there anything that he's done that's noticeably different than Bowness?
I think there's a little more in the offensive end. Overall, there's a little more pace in their game. The same defensive structure is still there, right? That was the same system that they had in place. That's why I thought, even with all the sexy names out there in the offseason, it was important that the Jets stayed true to the system they had with Scott Arniel and let him take over for Rick Bowness. I also think with Rick Bowness being sick and then Judy Bowness getting sick a little bit a couple times in November of last year, that got the players used to what Scott Arniel brought as the head coach as he filled in for Bones while that was happening. But I don't think there's that much of a difference to what they're doing. I just feel there's a little more pace in their game, and he has a little more patience with players like Cole Perfetti. I think Rick Bowness didn't have as much patience with the younger players on the roster. He was there to win a Stanley Cup. Goddard has been very patient with Cole Perfetti, and now he's benefiting from that because Cole Perfetti is playing some of his best hockey that he's had as a Jet before the Four Nations face-off break.
Yeah, that was going to be my next guy. So that's a great lead. And as Jamie Thomas joins us, covers the Jets. So he's in Montreal for the Four Nations. We're talking lots about the Jets. And, Cole Perfetti's a young player, JT. So a lot of it could just be simple experience gain, right? And getting more comfortable. But what are the areas of his game that you've seen the biggest improvement in?
Okay, so he said the other day, about a couple of weeks ago, that he wants to be more of a prick on the ice. And he's trying to add a little more edge to his game. And I think there's a great guy to learn from in Vladislav Nemesnikov, who has never shied away from physicality. He's dropped the gloves. Not that Cole Perfetti is going to be dropping the gloves anytime soon, but he's not shying away from the hard areas of the ice, which he may have done a little bit earlier in his career. Now he's going to the tough places. Obviously, having somebody like Nikolai Ehlers that brings defenders towards him with his skating ability opens the ice up a little bit for Cole. But a lot of this has to be. He has to be given some credit for recognizing what he had to change in his game, what he had to do when the points weren't coming, because we're going to have, as a young player, those points aren't always going to come, but how are you going to affect the game? He's done a great job of that, contributing without having points on the ice right now, and I think it's really helped his game excel, and he's very confident during this Jets 8-game win streak for sure.
JT, quickly to the game tonight. You know what? Josh Morrissey, of course, on Team Canada. Their defense is solid. They've obviously got a lot of superstar power up front. Sweden might have the best defense, top to bottom, maybe in the tournament. I think it's close, but they are quite good. Yeah. How do you see Canada penetrating this Swedish defense tonight?
Well, listen, your top line is Connor McDavid and Mitch Berhal, and I think they're going to be okay in that department. But it's going to be through the neutral zone. They're going to have to attack with speed, and there's nobody better than that than the Edmonton Oilers captain and Connor McDavid. But they have a lot of depth up front. They got a great puck-moving defenseman in the back end, and then they're going to have to rely on Jordan Binnington, right? And I think, but a lot of concern about Canada's goaltending, but I think a lot of people forget about how good Canada defends as well. But to get through Sweden, it's going to be half with speed through the neutral zone. And I'm so excited to see how this turns out. For anybody that's doubting that this is not going to be, that people are going to be, holding back, that's not going to be the case.
No.
I think we're going to see this. It's going to be crazy right from the start. These guys have waited far too long to play in an event like this for them to hold back. So I think anybody that has trepidation about it, they're going to be sorely mistaken when the puck drops here tonight in just under an hour.
Dude, I'm totally with you, man. I think the game is going to be electric. I think there's a lot of people that you haven't seen it for so long. Some young fans have never seen it, and some who haven't, you kind of forget something. But I think the energy in this game tonight will start, and it's only going to build. And Saturday's game, Canada-US, I think is going to be ultra electric. I can't wait for that. God, I hate the Americans now more than ever, so it's awesome. So it should be fun. JT, thanks for this, man. Have a good one. Enjoy the atmosphere at the Bell Center.
Thanks, but I shouldn't laugh when you say you hate the Americans more than ever with Kyle Connor and Connor Halley on the other side of things, but I see your point.
It's very true. It's very true. Nothing personal right now, JT. Nothing personal. Nothing personal.
At all.
Yes, at all. Appreciate it. There you go. That's Jamie Thomas from Winnipeg, of course, covers the Jets, and he's in covering the game. And, of course, I actually, you know what? We got, hey, guys, what do you think of the jerseys? I don't like Canada's. I actually really like it. I think it's pretty simple, straightforward. Like, we don't have to reinvent it all the time. I still think now, you know what? I don't mind that. The white numbers on the back, it's pretty simple. I don't mind it. Cons, what do you make of the, you're more of a jersey guy than I am.
Yeah, you know what? I always like to see what it looks like out there on the ice. I like the kind of off-white that they took.
Yes.
It kind of gives that retro look. It's not my favorite of all time, but it's a good look. It's a clean look. I still love that, Sweden. Always going to have the same jersey. I respect that about them, but no, I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind sometimes just saying, hey, let's pick with one and let's stick with it for Canada. But I do like the leaf in the front for Canada. I quite like that. I think it's great. I guess if there was one thing, if I was nitpicking it, the stripes on the socks and the stripes on the shirt, that's, it's probably a little bit too much Waldo maybe, but that's, again, that's being super nitpicky. I don't mind the jersey at all. All I know is I hope that the jersey of the red are up above their the arms are above their head more than the jersey of the yellow tonight. That's all that matters to me. When we come back, talk about a thrill. Like, it's a thrill to play professional sports. Then what if you get to play professional sports, with a sibling? Great. Well, what about with your twin brother? Well, that's happened. We'll talk to the guy next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Keep getting your text, 833-401-1440 in our email inbox.
Roses are red, violets are blue. To heat things up this Valentine's Day, a Papa John's pizza will certainly do. Flowers are nice, but so is a slice of delicious handcrafted pizza made with fresh ingredients. Right now, get a medium 2-topping pizza and your choice of dessert for only $25.99. Order today at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app using the promo code LOVEDAY. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Papa John's.
Discover the 2024 Mitsubishi RVR AWC at Cross Mitsubishi. Lease it today for just $229 a month with $49.99 due at signing. Plus, enjoy 0% financing for 36 months with a $1,000 trade rebate and a $500 loyalty rebate. It's a deal you can't miss. Equipped with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer warranty. Offer ends February 28th. Visit Cross Mitsubishi at 9605 34th Avenue or online at crossmitsubishi.ca. Cross Mitsubishi. Drive your ambition.
Ooh, girl, the way you touch that thermostat, it really turns me on. Like a heat exchanger, sensual phenomenon. Wanna play your favorite song while we turn the heating on like a legacy of love.
Legacy Heating and Cooling keeps your Valentine sizzling hot.
You can afford to shower your Valentine with affection because Legacy offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. And that's how you build your legacy of love. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Shop like an insider with the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Save up to 25% off sofas, love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals. When you buy more, you save more. Up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Plus, save up to 20% off bedroom and dining furniture. Save up to $600 off big screen TVs. And up to 25% off TV stands, fireplaces, and wall units. Sleep better with mattresses up to 40% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick. Saving you more.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
The moments we need healthcare are some of our most vulnerable. You deserve a system that supports you. Our healthcare system can't wait any longer.
Visit rebuildourhealthcare.ca to learn more.
The Ritch Social Eatery St. Albert is a great place to unwind with your friends. But when it comes to Valentine's Day, let's just say you get a little frantic with the romantic. Not to worry, the Ridge has you covered. Yeah, the Ridge is the perfect place for you two with their special Valentine's Day menu. You get your choice of a main and your choice of a shared app and dessert, plus a bottle of sparkling wine, all for just $140 per couple. Reservations are recommended, so call now or go online to theridgestantalbert.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Epcor. Stormwater ponds in Edmonton are designed to move water and runoff from streets and sidewalks, making them unsafe for winter activities. Instead, head to a local community league rink or a city rink that's safe for you, your family, and friends. Think twice and stay off the ice. Learn more at epcor.com/winter safety.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. We are, half an hour or so away from puck drop tonight, Canada and Sweden. I got a lot of texts flying in. Boys, I just turned the TV on, seeing McDavid in the Canada red and white. Let's go. Actually, there's a little swear word in between there, JC, but you know what I mean. Hey, I like it. Fellas, I wasn't excited until right now. Suddenly you see them in the Canadian jersey. I'm ready to roll. Gregor, you were right. Let's bring it on. That one comes from Mikey. Hey, guys, what's the is there a betting line for Stone hitting the injury reserve after the tournament? Levi. No, I don't think there is. And if it does, it doesn't help Vegas for the rest of the regular season. So that probably benefits Edmonton. I don't think Oilers fans should be worrying about that when Evander Kane is not going to play all year and then probably might be ready for playoffs. So I'd be careful what you wish for at this point. For the next 3 games, Oilers fans hope Mark Stone scores a few goals. Benefits their country, I would assume anyway. Although there are Oilers fans who live in the States and Oilers fans who live probably in Sweden and in Finland. So maybe not every Oilers fan, but every Canadian Oilers fan will be rooting for Canada. By the way, in the World Cup / Canada Cup, Canada has never lost their opening game. They are 6-0-2, and the 2 were ties back in the 70s and 80s when they just had ties. So keep that in mind as you go tonight. Canada taking on Sweden. And I like Sweden. I'm nothing against Sweden, but let's get a win. Now, earlier today, the Edmonton Elks unveiled a lot of the main guys for their free agent signing. You had Jake Seresna, Jared Brinkman, Robbie Smith, Terrell Ford, amongst others. And Terrell Ford, of course, is who had 7 interceptions last year as a member of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's Canadian. He's also the twin brother of quarterback Trey Ford. And Terrell was quite busy with every the media guys, and I saw Trey hanging around. So I chatted with Trey just about a lot of things. We'll get to his brother, but first, just last time we spoke to Trey, now he's had some time to sit down with his offensive coordinator. What have the last few months been, kind of getting to know him and working on the upcoming system for this year?
Yeah, I had a couple Zoom calls with him because he was still back out in BC, but I have met him in person a couple of times. He's been kind of going back and forth. I think he's here full time now, so definitely be meeting more with him in person. I'm still going to do the Zoom calls and everything. It's easy when you can just do it from home or wherever you're at. But it's been good. All the interactions have been good. He's a smart guy. He's had a lot of success in the CFL, and I'm happy to get a chance to work with him.
How different do you feel the offense is going to be this year?
It's hard to say exactly because we haven't put everything in. We kind of just put some base things in, which I feel like a lot of the base things are similar kind of across the league. I have seen some slight differences already in the way routes are and different tweaks he's made to them. But for that base package is pretty similar across the league. And then it kind of splits off and gets a little more different as you get more into it. So
After you signed, you've watched here the last few weeks, and you see so many, Grey Cup winning guys coming from other teams that want to sign here. 3 of Toronto's D linemen and their D coach. For a guy who went up against that D line, how excited are you I know Smith was pretty excited not having to go against you anymore, but how is it for you when you look at what they presented as a defensive front?
Yeah, I mean, they're phenomenal, right? They've been contenders every single year. They won it last year. They won it 2 or 3 years ago as well, right? So they've been phenomenal up front, and I think that's why they've had so much success. And if you look at Winnipeg, again, has a really good defensive line. They had a good offensive line, and they're always in the Grey Cup, right? So I think starting with that, the defense and the offensive line are crucial to being a good team and a contender for the Grey Cup. And I think we definitely have that now in our locker room.
And, of course, speaking of the Bombers, you know someone very well on that team. Your twin brother is now a teammate of yours. And he spoke about it's great to play together, but you guys have played together lots. He was just as excited about the opportunity to hang out and get to be an uncle all the time. Just how enjoyable that factor is that you're playing pro football together, but you also kind of get to enjoy life again together.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be a huge factor, actually, because I got another one on the way, about a month away. So it's going to be nice to have him around to help out because 1's a lot of work, 2 is going to be even more. So it's going to be nice to have him out here. And then from a football aspect, it's not just the fact that he's my brother. He's been playing at a high level for a defensive back. So it's going to be nice to be able to add that to our secondary.
For fans who maybe don't know his game well, what does he do best as a DB?
I think there's a lot of things he does, right? I think reading routes, like recognizing route combinations, I think he's really good at. He definitely probably has the best hands for DBs in the league because he always catches for me, and he's been doing that since he's been 6, right? So his hands are phenomenal. And then just his break speed, like when he actually drives on the ball and everything. I don't know if there's too many DBs in the league that can compete with him.
So you look now, can you kind of give us here we are, middle of February, a few months away from camp. What's kind of your game plan over the next few months? You mentioned you're expecting your second child. That's obviously super exciting. So you mix becoming dad again with preparing for the season. What's the next 2 months like from a football preparation standpoint look for you?
Kind of what it's been like the last week. I'm going to be coming in, doing the lifts and everything with our new strength coach. I'll be doing that, getting some routes in with my brother and my friend Sue, who's here. We'll be getting those in. I'm sure some receivers will be rolling in. I've talked to Zach already. He's going to be coming up in March and staying with me, and we're going to be getting on the same page. And hopefully we get some other receivers up here and just work on timing with routes and everything, get everything going offensively, because I feel like that's half the battle. It's just being on the same page.
So there you go. Trey Ford working lots with the OC, and pretty neat that Uncle Ty will be around a little bit more. Cons, you know how it is. So kind of unique. Terrell Ford was joking and goes, "Hey, I'm going to get a break on rent." So that's good. Living with Trey Ford, but make no mistake, like it's not just twin brother. He's a dominant player, and Trey even admitted that Ty might be a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite the acquisition, and certainly having your brother playing as the quarterback on the other side of the football doesn't hurt you. But I don't think Tyler Ford is just going to go to a situation where he's not going to have a chance to win. Like, he's used to winning football games in the CFL. He wants that to continue. And you got to believe in what Ed Hervey has built, strengthening the defensive line, the offensive line. As a member of the secondary, very well, rush and cover go hand in hand. So if they can get after the opposing quarterbacks, hurry throws, force bad throws, that's only going to benefit you on the back end. So, yeah, I think it's really good. And I will say with the young kid, having one is tough, like he said. Having two would be very tough. So to have another set of hands, another set of eyes, maybe more importantly in the house, goes a long way.
Well, and it's funny. Terrell's like, "Man, I want a kid," and then the minute he said it, he got, "Well, not right away." And it was so funny because, classic. Well, I'd like a kid, and then I think he's just like, "Oh my God, I don't want people to think like girlfriend or whatever." Whoa, like. I'm like, I'm lucky it's not mine. I just, I can have the kid, but it's not mine, kind of thing. It was such a classic guy line. Oh, I was dying watching. And the minute he said, he's just like, "Oh, backpedal, abort mission. Oh, so funny. Looking at a few other things, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, when do the Oilers get back on the ice? And is there a rule on how many practices you're allowed? Yes, there's always written in rules for the NHLPA and stuff. You can't have a practice. You can't have a practice till next Tuesday, and it can't be until 2 p.m. local time. So whatever time zone you're in. So Edmonton will have a practice next Tuesday. They'll have one next Wednesday. Then they'll fly on Thursday to Philly. Then they'll practice Wednesday in Philly, and then they have matinee games in Philadelphia on Saturday, and that's the 22nd, and then in Washington, another matinee game on Sunday. So they'll come back, and they go back-to-back right away, and away they go. But, yeah, there's always, there's rules. Speaking of the NHL, Jordan Eberle has agreed to a conditioning stint. He'll go down to Coachella. He hasn't played for a while for Seattle, so might see him in a game. Bakersfield Condors are playing Coachella this weekend. So I think it's this weekend, or might even be, it's this weekend. So could see a former Oiler. If you're dying for some Oilers hockey, you can watch the Oilers farm team play in action tonight and this week as well. Hey guys, I kept recalling Trey saying he didn't know where he stood with the coach, and I can't believe that. I'm hoping for a changed culture this year, Jordan. Well, Jordan, I can tell you 100%. It has changed. I asked Trey about that. I asked the coach about it, and there's no gray area. Coaches know what they have in Ford. Ford knows what the coaches think they have in him, and they're game planning a plan that's going to work to benefit his best assets. And also, they want Ford to commit to doing some things that they want and different things like that, which is great. But there's going to be no mixed messages between the head coach and the quarterback this season. I can tell you, the coaching staff, the management, they are all fans of Trey Ford. Enjoy the World Cup, baby. Canada, Sweden. Let's go red and white. We will break it down tomorrow on behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, all of our guests. If you missed any, go to jasongregor.com for the individual interviews or wherever you get your podcasts. and at sports1440.ca for the entire show. Let's get to the comments. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
About 10 minutes away from puck drop as the NHL Four Nations faceoff gets going. Canada taking on Sweden out in Montreal. In the association tonight, the Raptors in action for the Cavs 22-9 with 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Elsewhere, Celtics up on the Spurs 49-31. The Hornets trail the Magic 42-39. Wizards have a 43-37 lead over the Pacers. And early on, Knicks up on the Hawks 20-16 later on. Bulls host the Pistons, the Bucks in Minnesota. Heat taking on the Thunder. Rockets host the Suns. And Nuggets taking on the Trailblazers. Lakers in Utah. And the Mavericks up against the Warriors. The Edmonton Elks released defensive lineman Jamin Pelly today. Pelly spent the last 3 years as a member of the Green and Gold, playing in 29 games, recording 25 tackles in the WHL. The Oil Kings hosting the Regina Pats down at Rogers Place. Puck drop set for 7 o'clock. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. $2 hot dogs all game long in the AJ, Fort Mac and Camrose, and Olds hosting Lloyd. That gets going at 7 o'clock. And in the PWHL, it's one game on the schedule tonight. After 20 minutes, Boston leads New York 1-0 in Major League Baseball. Pete Alonso is back with the New York Mets, signing a 2-year deal worth $54 million. He's a player option for the second year of the contract. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Fox Sports Radio, then Carius Douglas back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. on the Kevin Carius Show. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Much of our challenges in healthcare can be solved by spending public dollars on a public system. Our healthcare system can't wait any longer.
Visit rebuildourhealthcare.ca